Chapter 391. I'm canceling this, meow. Minnesota, USA. Father, it would have been better if you had just handed over the chairman position obediently, Michael said as he entered the huge house's foyer. Michael, you're insane. Killing a dragon that doesn't even exist. Get a grip. Gagel's chairman, William, shouted at Michael in an angry voice. Hundreds of hunters were surrounding Michael. A few days ago, Michael had started acting strangely after coming out of the tower. He began killing people. Not just a few, but hundreds. When William found out, he sent hunters to subdue Michael and asked him why he killed people. QQ Cuck, to kill the dragon and rule the tower I need power. Give me your chairman position as well, father. Then, Michael, who was talking nonsense, was confined to a hunter-only mental hospital. However, Michael managed to kill all the hunters guarding and hunters admitted inside the hospital and escaped to show up here. It's okay to kill him. I have plenty of sons anyway. Yes. At William's words, the head of the security team responded and signaled the other hunters. The hunters then quickly rushed at Michael. QQ Cuck, that's how it should be. Then I will take the chairman position with my own power. Michael laughed sinisterly and charged at the approaching hunters. This can't be. The fight ended in an instant, with Michael's massacre. No one could properly see Michael's movements. Then goodbye. Michael Spare Cuck. Michael became the new chairman of Gagel. 99th floor of the Golden Tower. Inside a cave. Boom! Thanks to the massive lightning striking the ground, the inside of the cave was bright as day. The cave housed residential facilities and vast fields where thousands of elves lived. Usually the elves quietly farmed, but now. Cecilia fighting. Cecilia, you can do it. All the elves were standing around the cherry tomato field, cheering for the blonde elf who was diligently harvesting cherry tomatoes in the field. Cecilia, the tower farmer of the Golden Tower, was participating in the first event of the Harvest Festival, the cherry tomato harvesting competition. Not long ago, while harvesting cherry tomatoes, an elf had harvested the high elf's cherry tomato altar. Cecilia had offered 15 different crops she harvested to the altar and held the Harvest Festival. As a result, the first event of the Harvest Festival, the cherry tomato harvesting competition, was held, and Cecilia participated in it. The outcome was Cherry Tomato Harvesting Competition Rankings. First, Cecilia, 13,172 tomatoes. Second, Panelli, 2,300 tomatoes. Naturally, Cecilia took first place with an overwhelming score. Cecilia Nim, that's unfair. Cecilia Nim is greedy. She received some complaints from the young elves. As a reward for first place, she received 5 A-grade magical cherry tomatoes. Magical cherry tomato. Unlike the regular cherry tomatoes they ate, these were items. The producer was the Black Tower's tower farmer, Park Sejun, who is also a tower farmer like her. It increases magic power by 10 for 10 minutes. While 10 magic power was not very useful, the fact that eating a crop could increase magic power was amazing. However, since they didn't focus on taste, it would not be as delicious as my cherry tomatoes. According to Cecilia's common sense, it was natural. It's obvious that the taste would be inferior if some of the nutrients go to magic power. Still, I should try it. Kids, each of you have one. Thank you. Num. Cecilia offered the magic cherry tomatoes to the young elves and picked one up herself, putting it in her mouth and biting down. But then, splat! The moment the cherry tomato juice burst, Cecilia realized that these cherry tomatoes were entirely different from the ones she used to grow. So delicious. They're incredibly tasty. The phrase bursting with juices naturally came to mind as Cecilia savored the flavor of the cherry tomato. She looked at her hand to grab another one, but, wow, this is really delicious. Is this really a cherry tomato? The other elves had already taken them all. Cecilia, you fool, Why did you offer them? While Cecilia was berating herself for more than a day for not being able to forget the taste of the cherry tomatoes. The second event of the Harvest Festival, the Cherry Tomato Eating Contest, will begin shortly. Participants who wish to join the contest, please gather in front of the High Elf's giant cherry tomato altar. The second event of the Harvest Festival had begun. This time, I won't give any to anyone, Cecilia firmly resolved as she participated in the contest. On the way down the tower, Pew Pew Hut, where do you think we should go to find the land deed for the 75th floor of the tower, meow? Theo asked his companions. They had already visited every possible place. So he was asking his companions where to go next. If we just ask a passing merchant, they might tell us right. Yurin replied with a slightly dazed look on his face. His expression naturally made one want to scam him. At this point, isn't it Yurin's fault rather than the scammer? With that dazed look and having a lot of money, he had the kind of face that made even an ordinary person want to scam him. As Theo pondered the topic of whose fault it is that Yurin gets scammed, meow. Kaiwat. I contacted the association and found out that the land deed for the 75th floor of the tower is with the Wandering Merchants Association, and the land deed for the 68th floor of the tower is held by the Lizard King of the Lizard Men. Yona answered, opening her eyes. Though it seemed she had been sleeping, she had made the vice chairman of the Wizards Association find out the location of the land deeds. The information power of the Wizards Association was impressive. Meow, is that true, meow? Yona, thank you, meow. Kaiwat. I'm happy to be of help to you, Theonim. But where is the Lizard King, meow? Pio. I know, the Lizard King is on the 69th floor of the tower. Piat, eager to share what he knew, raised his wings and answered quickly. Pew Hut. Then we'll stop by the 75th floor first, then head to the 69th floor, meow. Thanks to Iona's information, Theo and his companions headed straight to the 75th floor without any detours. Then, Pio. Theonim, there's a fork in the road. A fragment of Jormungandr, brought on by Yurin's misfortune, appeared. Pew Hut, Yurin, which way, meow? I want to go left. Got it, meow. Hearing Yurin's answer, Theo swung his front paw toward the left path. Then, crack. The left path, the fragment of Jormungandr, split into 6 pieces. Clink. Pio. Piat quickly flew over and picked up the falling white coins. After dealing with the fragment of Jormungandr and moving a little further, Cuck, lucky me finding 3 newbies here. The life-draining wizard Roku will take your life force, and of course your belongings. A green goblin in a black robe appeared, but I don't like your laugh, meow. Whack. He was knocked out by Theo's punch to the back of his head. Pio. Stamp it. Thump it. In the meantime, Piat took out a slave contract, got Roku's handprint on it, and looted his belongings. Kaiwat. Theonim, please leave Roku to me. He's a wanted criminal by our Wizards Association. In return, I'll give you the reward money. Pew Hut, got it, meow. By the way, how much is the reward, meow? Kaiwat. It's 5 million tower coins. They also got an extra reward too. Pew Hut, as expected, there's always much to gain when traveling with Yurin, meow. Theo walked confidently, with a bright smile, towards the 75th floor of the tower. A little while later, when Theo and his companion arrived at the office of the Wandering Merchants Association. Welcome, Chairman Iona of the Wizards Association, legendary merchant Yurin, diplomat Piat of the Kingdom of Kav, and Theonim. Nice to meet you all. Then, it seems Theonim has passed the first stage of the legendary merchant promotion test. Mason greeted the group and informed Theo that he had passed the first stage of the legendary merchant promotion test. Meow, what do you mean, meow? Theo was flustered by Mason's words. He planned to take the promotion test with Chairman Park. He didn't want to pass it now. Didn't you know? The first stage of the legendary merchant promotion test is to bring 3 reputable figures from the Black Tower to verify the merchant's connections. I assumed you all came together because Yurin Nim informed me beforehand. No, meow. I'm canceling this, meow. I Vice Chairman Theo am not taking the promotion test yet, meow. Theo, who wanted to pass the promotion test together with Sejun, shouted. Ah, I see. Then if you're not here for the promotion test, why have you come? Mason asked the reason for their visit. Pew Hut, Chairman Mason, sell me the land deed for the 75th floor of the tower, meow. The land deed for the 75th floor of the tower. One moment, please. Mason instructed a subordinate to bring the land deed for the 75th floor of the tower. But, Chairman. The subordinate returned empty-handed and whispered to Mason. If only you had come a little earlier. It was sold 10 minutes ago. It was already sold. Meow, to whom did you sell it, meow? We don't know. We received 5 times the market price in exchange for not asking for their identity. Kaiwat. Theonim, let's hurry. If it's only been 10 minutes, they might still be nearby. Got it, meow. With that, Theo stepped outside. Where could the land deed for the 75th floor be? Theo stretched his front paws forward and called out earnestly for the land deed for the 75th floor. I, Vice Chairman Theo, have golden front paws, meow. Then he felt a pull. But, meow. There wasn't just one pull. I'll check them all, meow. Let's go, meow. Theo grabbed Piot and Yurin with his front paws and disappeared using meow step. Theo moved quickly, checking everything he felt a pull towards, but they were all other items, not the land deed. Only one left, meow. Theo headed towards the last pull. And then, stop right there, meow. Theo called out to a brown orc he felt the pull from. What do you want? Wait, who is this? The brown orc turned around at the call and upon seeing Yurin, smiled brightly. Baka. On the contrary, Yurin's expression was not good, it was natural. Baka was the one who had taken a commission of 300 billion tower coins to find treasure for Yurin, only to abandon him in a maze and run away. Thanks to this, Baka held a proud spot as the 10th name on Yurin's blacklist. Just when he thought he could settle down and quietly live on a farm, was this a divine revelation telling him to pull one last big job? Baka's eyes gleamed as he looked at Yurin. Yurin, I'm sorry about that time. I got lost myself. Baka hurriedly started preparing his next scam. What? You didn't abandon me? If Yurin were alone, he would have the misfortune of being scammed. But the moment he is with Theo, Yurin's misfortune disappears and turns into Theo's luck. Kaiwat. Theonim, this is Baka, a client killer who deliberately abandons clients in dangerous places and runs away. With the Mercenary Association's bounty of 15 million tower coins and other bounties combined, it exceeds 100 million tower coins. Thanks to Iona, who could provide real-time information from the association, they could collect a hefty bounty as well. Pew Hut, let's get the stamp from him first and talk later, meow. Theo smiled as he approached Baka. Pew Hut. Piot took out a slave contract and prepared to stamp it. Hedi. Yurin, thinking of hitting Baka, pulled out some money from his pocket. Chapter 392, it's give and take. Black Tower Administrator Area. Kehihidi, I hope our Sejun gets stronger quickly after eating this. Aileen laughed as she looked at the black liquid boiling in the giant pot. It was a healthy dish for Sejun. Because Sejun gave Aileen a kiss, they met sooner than Aileen had expected, so she would deliver the food later. Kehihidi, now it will be complete after boiling for a day, Aileen said as she closed the lid of the giant pot. Just then, thud, a massive dragon and a small dragon hanging from its tail entered the administrator area. It was the great golden dragon Godiella and her son Hocus. Hello, Aunt Godiella, but what brings Hocus Opa here? Aileen greeted Godiella and asked, looking at Hocus. Usually, only Godiella came to buy the elixir-grade cherry tomatoes. Aileen, I can polymorph now too, Hocus said, puffing out his nostrils strongly in response to Aileen's question. He had come to brag to Aileen that he could now polymorph. Since Hakon polymorphed at 600 years old and was called a genius, it was worth bragging about. Having already received tremendous praise among the Golden Dragons, Hocus's confidence was sky-high. Here, look, polymorph. Hocus used polymorph and transformed into a blonde man. Naturally, he was incredibly handsome due to his racial traits. Though the polymorph was unstable, and horns slightly protruded from his head, they were not visible if he covered them with his hair. Hu-hu-hu-hu, Aileen, how do I look? Hocus spun around, showing off his appearance to Aileen. Kahihi, my Sejun is still the best looking. Watching Hocus, Aileen recalled Sejun's handsome face. No matter how you looked at it, Hocus was much more handsome, but Aileen's taste was not ordinary. Wow, Hocus Oppa, you look amazing. When Aileen praised Hocus. Yeah, hu-hu-hu-hu. Receiving praise from Aileen, who was 350 years younger, made Hocus feel very pleased. After Hocus finished showing off his polymorph, Aileen, can you give me the white cherry tomatoes? Godiella stated her business to Aileen. Yes, just a moment. Aileen took out 50 elixir-grade cherry tomatoes from her storage. These days, Aileen didn't sell elixir-grade cherry tomatoes in large quantities. The reason was that, when Aileen initially sold them to the 9 dragon clans for 10 billion tower coins each, the stock of elixir-grade cherry tomatoes had greatly decreased. The elixir-grade cherry tomatoes were being consumed in large quantities within the tower, because Sejun, Aileen, and the Black Tower members were eating them together. So originally, they weren't going to sell any more elixir-grade cherry tomatoes until the stock increased, but an incident occurred. Pirion, a 550-year-old hatchling of the Great Red Dragon, succeeded in polymorphing immediately after consuming the elixir-grade cherry tomatoes. When that news spread to other hatchling parents, they clamored for cherry tomatoes at the Black Tower. Thus, Sejun came up with the idea to sell 50 elixir-grade cherry tomatoes every 3 days. Then wouldn't it be better to just sell 500 in a month? Aileen didn't understand, but accepted it since it was Sejun's opinion. However, Aileen, can you also give me 10,000 each of the peanuts and magical cherry tomatoes I ate last time? Yes. Now she understood Sejun's intention. The frequent visits of the dragons had significantly increased the sales of other crops. Mom, also get dried sweet potatoes and garrydiox. And today, they even had additional sales of Hocus's snacks. Aileen, give me 10 each of what Hocus mentioned. No, 100 each, buy me 100 each. As his mother tried to buy fewer snacks, Hocus started to whine. Oh dear. Godiella sighed as she watched Hocus. This thoughtless son of mine. Your father worked so hard breathing fire that his throat hurt to earn this money. Aileen, give him 100 each. Yes. After all, no parent can win against their child. Hu-hu-hu-hu, thanks, Mom. Feeling happy with his snacks, Hocus clung to Godiella's tail and acted cute. HMPH, you're only grateful at times like this. Go hug your dad when he comes back and thank him for his hard work. Got it? Yes. Although Godiella spoke nonchalantly, the corners of her mouth lifted slightly. Aileen watched silently as Godiella and Hocus interacted warmly. Is my Sejun's contribution points increasing well? She quickly checked Sejun's contribution points through the crystal orb. Black Tower 4th floor Flesh Eaters extermination contributions. First place, Park Sejun, 17,520,042 monsters. Second place, Han Taejun, 3,112 monsters. Third place, Leon, 1,934 monsters. The ranking was overwhelmingly dominated by Sejun, with his number increasing by about 6 million compared to before. Kahihiti, just 2.5 million more and I can make Sejun stronger. Mid-level administrator of the Black Tower and Tower Farmer Park Sejun's contribution have increased by 1 point. Kahihiti, it's rising well. As Aileen was smiling while looking at Sejun's contribution, rising through the crystal ball. Thud! A great purple dragon hurriedly entered the administrator area. Hello, Aunt Zane. Aileen greeted. Yes, Aileen. Can you give me all the elixir-grade cherry tomatoes, magical peanuts, and magical cherry tomatoes you have? Pobai's mother, Zane, demanded all crops related to magic. Zane had heard the news that the 500-year-old Hocus had successfully polymorphed just a moment ago. According to age order, the next in line for polymorphing was her 400-year-old Pobai. But what if Garrick, who was 350 years old, or Sylvia, who was 300 years old, polymorphed first? She absolutely couldn't stand to see that happen. To prevent that, Zane had urgently flown over to buy all the peanuts and cherry tomatoes that helped with magic growth. Please wait a moment. It was another busy day for Aileen. Black Tower, 99th floor. All right, let's call it a day here. After having lunch and finishing the fruit preparation with Kyungi and the tower farmers, Sejun spoke in a satisfied voice. Your soul is filled with fulfillment from accomplishing many tasks. Mental strength increases by 5. In the meantime, his mental strength had also increased. And then, everyone gather around. He called his companions for one last meal together. Although there was still spicy fish stew left, he could eat that alone. After the final meal, guys, thank you for your hard work. Take these and enjoy them. Sejun gave gifts to show his gratitude for their efforts. He gave pancakes to Veronica, steamed potatoes to Zelga, and soybean paste to Auric. Auric seemed to like fermented food in general, so among Sejun's foods, he liked soybean paste the most. Thank you, Sejun Nim. Thank you. Kekekek, thank you. Call us again if you need anything. Okay, take care. Sejun sent off Veronica, Zelga, and Auric, then went to the bedroom with Ajax and Fenrir. Ajax, good night. Okay, you two, Hyung, good night. Ajax lay down with his head resting on Sejun's arm and closed his eyes. But I'm not going to sleep. When the butler falls asleep, I'll quickly put my core in his mouth. Fenrir showed his determination not to sleep, as he wanted to feed Sejun his 1% core fragment. However, Blackie, good night. When Sejun petted Fenrir's head about twice. Keikirorong. Fenrir was the first to fall asleep, snoring softly. Thus, in the early morning when everyone was asleep. Kaying. Oh no, I fell asleep. Fenrir hurriedly opened his eyes and looked around. Qwer. Erorong. He saw Sejun and Ajax deeply asleep. A perfect opportunity. Yeah, I fell asleep on purpose. I was originally aiming for this time. Fenrir, unable to admit that he had dozed off before a critical mission, which was unbecoming of the noble god hunting wolf and the first seed of apostle of destruction, convinced himself it was all part of the plan. He then placed the core fragment he had been holding into Sejun's mouth. Squish, squish. Keikihili kayang. He, my core, go in and tell him to make something delicious. With a desperate desire to eat something delicious, he diligently pressed the core fragment with his front paws. Then, gulp, Fenrir's core fragment slid smoothly down Sejun's throat. Kook. Sejun, who swallowed Fenrir's core fragment, writhed in pain and fainted. Experiencing such a strange occurrence while asleep, Sejun was indeed having an unusual experience. As Sejun passed out, Keikihili kayang. There'll be something delicious for breakfast, right? Keikirorong. Fenrir, expecting a delicious breakfast, climbed onto Sejun's chest and fell asleep. And then, a wolf. Sejun dreamt of being pinned down and licked all over by a giant wolf. Yuhyuk. Having a nightmare, Sejun woke up early. You have forcibly ingested a purified piece of Fenrir's core. You have absorbed a core fragment containing 1% of Fenrir's power. The power of the existing Fenrir's core fragments has been combined. You now have 1.0078% of Fenrir's power accumulated in your body. The range to detect other Fenrir's core fragments has greatly expanded. The range to detect the power of the Apostle of Destruction has greatly expanded. Sejun looked at the messages that appeared before him with curiosity. I've been forcibly ingested Fenrir's core fragments again. Who the hell keeps forcibly feeding it to me? Sejun hurriedly asked Aileen if anyone had entered his bedroom, but Aileen didn't know either. Fenrir had woken up briefly at dawn. Coincidentally, at that time, Aileen had been searching for the power of destruction. Moreover, even Peacebees was training during that time, so there were no witnesses. Is it okay to keep eating this? Sejun spoke in a concerned voice. Last time, he had let it slide because the message said it saved him. But no matter how purified it was, he doubted whether he should keep eating Fenrir's core fragments. At times like this, Theo, the thief-catcher, should be here. Erorong. Kurorong. Someone intruded at dawn, and you guys are still sleepy. Sejun grumbled at the two who were sleeping soundly, marked the date on the bedroom wall, and stepped outside to start his morning on the 398th day of entering the tower. Now, all that's left is to boil the spicy fish stew. Sejun walked around the farm, organizing his tasks for the day. As he was walking around the farm, the 6-clove garlic of mental strength is grateful for the farmer's footsteps and lends its strength. Stamina stat potential increases from 3023 to 3024. A message indicating an increase in potential appeared. Up to this point, it was nothing unusual. An additional effect occurs due to Fenrir's power. Stamina stat increases by 0.1. Once Fenrir's power accumulated in Sejun's body exceeded 1%, additional effects began to appear. What is this? As Sejun wondered, the seal of the Earth's jewel has been broken. Raxal, the god of rock salt, who is sealed in the Earth's gem, is released from the seal. Raxal, the god of rock salt, repays the favor to the one who released his seal. Raxal, the god of rock salt, creates a rock salt mine on 3.3 square meters of land as a token of gratitude. The god, released from the Earth's jewel, repaid Sejun and departed. A rock salt mine. It wouldn't be regular salt, would it? Maybe golden salt. Sejun, filled with anticipation, went to find the rock salt mine. However, it's just regular salt. The rock salt mine created by Raxal, the god of rock salt, contained only regular salt. Raxal Road. Raxal, the god of rock salt, who repaid us with a rock salt mine. He was a very stingy god. So to match the stingy god, Sejun also made a 1 square meter road. Haha, it's give and take. Sejun was merciless even with gods. Chapter 393. Finally I can rest. 75th floor of the tower, Mercenary Association branch. Bang! Pew Hugh Hut, give me my bounty, meow. Theo, having retrieved 1.3 trillion tower coins that Urine had been scammed out of, and the land deed for the 75th floor of the tower, burst through the door of the Mercenary Association. Yuhehe. Behind Theo, holding the rope that tied up Baka, whose eyes were bruised blue, Urine entered with a satisfied expression. What? Who dares to, huh? Who dares to cause trouble in the Mercenary Association, huh? The mercenaries, who had jumped up and drawn their weapons to punish the rogue who dared to roughly open the door of the Mercenary Association, quietly sat back down. The mercenaries avoided making eye contact with Theo and his party as if they had seen something they shouldn't have. Whoa, did I almost die just now? They didn't see me frowning, did they? It wasn't because of Theo. Kaiwat. It was because of Yona, who was wrapped around Theo's tail, laughing pleasantly. Yona, the wizard of great destruction. She was one of the beings that mercenaries must be aware of if they were to survive. She was not only the master of the Wizard Tower and the chairman of the Wizard Association, who were also major clients of the Mercenary Association, but also because too many mercenaries had disappeared after underestimating Iona's cute appearance. Recognizing Iona was a very fortunate thing for the mercenaries. But it's a shame, meow. It's a shame. I would have gotten their stamps. It was very regrettable for Theo and Piot, who had missed the chance to make more slaves. A little later. Here is the bounty for the client killer Baka. The Mercenary Association's bounty is 15 million tower coins, and including the bounties placed by other clients, the total comes to 103 million tower coins. The branch manager of the Mercenary Association, having heard that Iona had arrived, personally came out to calculate the bounty. Pew Hut, thank you, meow. Thus, Theo handed over Baka and pocketed the bounty. Pew Hut, now let's go to the Lizard King, meow. Theo, Iona, Piot, and Urin moved to the 69th floor of the tower, where the Lizard King resided, to obtain the land deed for the 68th floor that Sejun had asked for. 99th floor of the Golden Tower. The cherry tomato eating contest is starting. With the message announcing the start of the contest, baskets filled with cherry tomatoes appeared in front of the participating elves. And then, oh, what's this? Are these really cherry tomatoes? The elves who ate the cherry tomatoes were astonished. These are the food for the eating contest, not the prize. Cecilia was shocked in a different way than the other elves. This was because all the tomatoes in her basket were magical cherry tomatoes. Then what will they give as a prize? I must win first place. Cecilia, who had participated to obtain magical cherry tomatoes, was fired up. But despite her intense determination, Cecilia's hands moved very slowly. Cecilia's limit was 5 cherry tomatoes. Even among elves who ate little, she ate particularly little. Due to the lack of food, this was usually advantageous for survival. I want to eat more. But today, it was incredibly frustrating. Cherry tomato eating contest rankings. First, Botany 30. Second, Aragon 29. 1920th, Cecilia 5. In the end, Cecilia came in last place. This cherry tomato is white. Wow, this is really delicious and increases magic power by 10. And could only watch as the elves who placed first, second, and third ate the elixir, cherry tomato imbued with powerful magic power. So petty, they didn't even offer me one. Cecilia resented her ungrateful comrades and prepared for the next contest. The third contest must be a tomato wine drinking contest, right? Drinker Cecilia is coming. Cecilia ate liver-friendly foods as she prepared for the third contest of the Harvest Festival. Black Tower 99th floor. Guys, fill it up with water, ice cube. Kyung. Okay, Hyung water ball. Kyung. Moo. Following Sejun's instructions, Kyungi, Ajax, Pinkfur, and the Black Minotaurs began pouring water into the massive stone pot. Ajax used magic, while the others fetched water from the pond and the fountain to fill the pot. At first, because the pot was so large, it seemed like trying to fill a broken jar, but over time, the water level gradually rose. Once the pot was filled, Sejun added the ingredients for the spicy fish stew into the stone pot and snap! With a flick of his fingers, he created a massive flame and threw it into the fire pit stacked with firewood. Then, whoosh! The firewood caught fire and flames rose. However, because Sejun had added ice to the pot to fill it with water, the temperature was low and the water didn't boil quickly. Kyungi Kyungfuo. Kyung. Got it, I'll use Kyungfuo. Kuing. At Sejun's request, Kyungi blew a strong wind into the fire pit. Then, whoosh! The flames instantly became several times stronger. Thanks to that, the massive stone pot filled with 1 million servings of spicy fish stew began to boil rapidly. Cooking is all about the heat. Sejun then seasoned the boiling spicy fish stew. Great, it's done. Ajax, go call Ramternim. Okay, Hyung. Once the spicy fish stew was ready, he called Ramter immediately. There was no room, so it had to be cleared out quickly. Collect, our Sejun has worked hard, refresh. Ramter, who took the spicy fish stew in the stone pot, cast a recovery spell on Sejun and the other companions before leaving. After Ramter left, land moving. Using his skill, Sejun created another giant stone pot over the fire pit. And then, guys, pour it. They began filling it with water again. Hehe, just 9 more times and it'll be done. When they were making the 6th batch of 1 million servings of spicy fish stew. Guys, hang in there just a little longer even if it's tough. Sejun, drinking a blue mugwort juice potion to recover his magic, cheered on Ajax, Kyungi, Pinkfur, and the Black Minotaurs, with a face that looked like he was dying from exhaustion. However, his companions didn't seem to share Sejun's sentiments at all. This isn't tough at all. All the others were perfectly fine. As usual, Sejun was still quite weak compared to anyone who might be concerned about others here. Kaying. Hey, don't overdo it. You still have to make my food later. To the point that even Fenrir, the sunfish, was worried about him. Hugh, I'll rest for a bit. In the end, Sejun took a break alone. I'm so tired, I should at least have some coffee. As Sejun was grinding coffee beans, trying to endure with the power of caffeine. Your soul is filled with the great praise from the elves from the Golden Tower. Mental strength has increased by 30. A message appeared indicating his mental strength had increased. Golden Tower elves, did Aileen sold to them too? Since he had no direct connection to the Golden Tower, Sejun thought that the crops Aileen sold must have reached the elves of the Golden Tower as he brewed his coffee. Still, with his mental strength greatly increased, much of his fatigue disappeared. This is good. Sejun was able to drink coffee in a good mood and go back to making spicy fish stew. Black Tower, 69th floor. Is this the place where the Lizard King is? Meow. Theo asked Piat as they entered the boundary of the massive farm, Draken's Grand Farm, where many lizardmen were working. Pio? Yes. At that moment. Isn't this the great golden cat, Theo Park, the subordinate of the great black dragon? Tamuro, the lizardman grand warrior guarding Draken's Grand Farm, noticed Theo and quickly greeted him. Theo and Tamuro had met in the past, when locusts appeared on the 67th floor of the tower. Back then, Theo was just a beginner wandering merchant, but now he was traveling with Iona, the wizard of great destruction, and Urin, the legendary merchant. Theo had truly come a long way. Pew Hut. Nice to see you again, Tamuro. Meow. But to be precise, I am the great golden cat with the deadly dragon claws, Theo Park, the subordinate of the great black dragon. Meow. Theo kindly corrected Tamuro about his title. Yes, I see. So what brings you here? Tamuro cautiously asked Theo about his purpose. As a grand warrior holding a significant position in the Lizard Kingdom, Tamuro was well informed about the tower's affairs. And that information included details about Theo, the slave king. Previously a naive and unscrupulous merchant, he had now evolved into a ruthless and bloodless slave king, a highly dangerous individual to be wary of. Thus, Tamuro quickly intervened to ensure that none of his subordinates became Theo's slaves. I came to buy the land deed for the 68th floor from the Lizard King. Meow. The land deed for the 68th floor of the tower. That's right. Meow. How much? Meow. I'll let him make the first offer. Meow. That way I can haggle 3 times. Meow. Theo was excited at the thought of using his 3-time haggling tactic after a long time. But, Theo Parknam, I am truly sorry. If the Lizard King had the land deed for the 68th floor, he would have gladly given it to you. But the land deed for the 68th floor is in Dino, the capital of the Lizard Kingdom, located on the 70th floor of the tower. We can't give it to you. Meow. What do you mean, meow? Then why not go to the 70th floor and bring it, meow? Well, you see, the Lizard Kingdom originally ruled from the 65th to the 70th floors of the tower. However, while eradicating the locusts on the 67th floor, their national power significantly declined. They tried to recover, but then, to make matters worse, as Sejun disappeared to the 77th floor of the tower, prompting the Black Minotaurs to march down in search of him. This caused a massive horde of upper-level monsters to invade the 70th floor, putting the kingdom in jeopardy. To prevent further disaster, the Lizard King sealed Dino, which had been the capital of the Lizard Kingdom for centuries, and retreated to the 69th floor. After the monster invasion subsided, the Lizard King attempted to reclaim Dino with his forces. But a gigantic phoenix wreathed in intense flames had nested there. They had no choice but to return to the 69th floor in defeat. Pew Pew Hut, so if we get rid of the bird, we can obtain the land deed, meow. Theo asked after hearing Tamuro's explanation. What? It's not just any bird, it's a PH. Pew Pew Hut, I understand, meow. Then we'll split the treasure inside 50-50, meow. Quickly stamp the contract, meow. Interrupting Tamuro, Theo handed him the contract. Just a moment, I'll get permission from the Lizard King first. Got it, meow. There's no other way to reclaim the capital now anyway. Thinking there was nothing to lose, Tamuro hurriedly grabbed the contract and ran to the tent in the center of Draken's grand farm. A little while later, Theonim, please, you must reclaim Dino, the capital of our Lizard Kingdom. Tamuro returned with the contract stamped with the Lizard King's seal. Pew Pew Hut, don't worry, meow. Taking the contract, Theo and his party ascended the tower. However, Theo didn't stop at the 70th floor but kept moving. Kaiwat, Theonim, you passed it. Pew Pew Hut, no, meow, we're going to Chairman Park first, meow. Kaiwat, why Sejunim? Pew Pew Hut, we're going together with Chairman Park, meow. Chairman Park can go the 70th floor, meow. I'll go to the 70th floor with Chairman Park, take down the bird, and give the Lizard Kingdom's treasure and the 68th floor land deed to Chairman Park, meow. Then we'll move to the 68th floor and find the power of destruction with Chairman Park, meow. Lastly, I'll go to the 75th floor with Chairman Park, take the legendary merchant promotion test, and become a legendary merchant while receiving congratulations from Chairman Park, meow. Theo was planning his journey with Sejun in his mind. Kaiwat, that sounds fun. Pew Pew Hut, it will be fun, meow. As Theo thought about his journey with Sejun and moved to the 99th floor of the tower. It's done. Sejun, having handed over the 10th batch of spicy fish stew to Ramter, was shouting with joy. Finally, I can rest. Chapter 394, Hehe, now it begins. Black Tower Administrator's Area. Kehe, it's complete. Aileen smiled brightly as she opened the lid of the pot. Inside, the black liquid had disappeared, leaving only a single black lump. Kehe, it turned out just as I thought. Though it was unclear what she had intended to make, the black lump before her looked like a definite culinary failure if it was supposed to be food, but Aileen seemed satisfied with the result. Let's cut it into small pieces so Sejun can eat it easily. Tug. Aileen meticulously cut the black lump into uniform pieces. Although it was fine to eat in one go, the medicinal effect was too strong for Sejun's digestion. A little while later. Kehe, Sejun, take this. Aileen sent her health dish, cut into 1,000 pieces, to Sejun. 99th floor of the Black Tower. Ah, this is nice. Lying on a stone platform after dinner, Sejun spoke as he gazed at the early evening sky, with a nice blend of light and darkness. Hehe, I should just relax and eat well for a while. Balance is important in everything. Having worked for several days, it was now time to relax. Kyuhihe. Kekilahid. On either side of Sejun, Kyungi and Fenrir were lying down, pressing their bottoms against Sejun's, enjoying his petting. Kekilahit kaying. Hihai, as expected, I was right. Where can I find more fragments of my core? Fenrir, having eaten the cheese egg roll that Sejun made for dinner, was once again convinced of his thoughts. If something as delicious as a cheese egg roll came up again, it seemed worth giving another fragment of his core. While Sejun, Kyungi, and Fenrir were enjoying the post-meal satisfaction, the tower's administrator announces with a confident voice that she have completed a dish for you. Thank you. I thought she had forgotten. Sejun, with a flustered expression, thanked Aileen and opened the pouch that appeared on his hand. Inside the pouch were cube-shaped, almost charcoal black pieces that were hard to call food. Aileen's special nutritional cookie piece. This is called a cookie. Until he saw the name, he never would have guessed this was supposed to be a cookie. Honestly, even after seeing the name, he would believe it if someone said it was coal, given its appearance. Aileen, being a great black dragon, seemed to really like the color black. It wasn't burnt, it was deliberately made black. That must be it, right? Sejun picked up a black cookie piece and checked its options. Aileen's special nutritional cookie piece. A special nutritional cookie made by the great black dragon Aileen Pratani, containing top-grade elixirs, specifically for Park Sejun, the Black Tower's farmer. The cookie has been divided into 1,000 pieces for Park Sejun's safety. Due to the immense heat and pressure applied in its making, the efficacy of the elixirs is nearly intact, but the cookie has become hard enough to break diamonds. Consumption increases all stats by 0.5. Consuming all 1,000 pieces of Aileen's special nutritional cookies increases all stats by 500. Usage restriction. All stats 1,500 or above. Cook, Great Black Dragon Aileen Pratani. Shelf life none. Grade. Previously, Aileen's healthier meatball piece was said to be as hard as diamond. Now, this was said to be hard enough to break diamonds. Aileen's skills were improving daily. She had created an even more formidable weapon, dish. The dish seemed to match Aileen's confidence in its greatness. Vitality. Sejun first emptied his stomach with a skill. Numb. And then put one piece of Aileen's special nutritional cookie into his mouth. Sejun tried to dissolve the cookie piece in his mouth, but it was so densely packed that it had no taste. Realizing that biting into it might break his teeth, Sejun immediately swallowed it. Then, you have consumed Aileen's special nutritional cookie piece. The medicinal properties within Aileen's special nutritional cookie piece are densely packed. It will take 20 hours to fully digest Aileen's special nutritional cookie piece. Messages appeared. Oh, this doesn't make me feel full. It just took a long time to digest. So can I eat a lot at once? Sejun picked up the cookie pieces and slowly put them in his mouth one by one. Nothing happened until he reached the 5th piece. It seems okay. Gulp. Gaining confidence, Sejun began swallowing 2 to 3 pieces at a time quickly. Hasn't good. At this rate, I can eat 100 pieces a day and finish all 1,000 pieces in 10 days. Just as Sejun, full of confidence, swallowed the 15th piece. The strong medicinal properties inside your body are turning into poison. A grade S poison will form in 30 seconds. Poison. Grade S poison. Green onion. Sejun hurriedly ran into his void storage and chewed on an S-grade detoxifying green onion. Then, you have consumed a detoxifying green onion. For 1 hour, you will detoxify any poison of grade S or below. No poison will be created in your body. Messages appeared. Phew. Sejun let out a sigh of relief. If he had been just a bit slower. Had he not harvested the S-grade detoxifying green onion as a reward for detoxifying Tyr's deadly poison in the past, he would have been in big trouble. From now on, I'll safely eat only 10 pieces. Even though he could detoxify while eating more, the medicine transformed into poison would also be detoxified. It's like spending a lot of money on nutritious food and then taking diet pills that block nutrient absorption. You have survived a deadly crisis. Talent, sturdy vitality activates. Stamina increases by 1. I know that too. Annoyed, Sejun snapped at the message, feeling frustrated for almost dying from his own greed when there was no danger around. Thus, Sejun survived another day. Kyung Kyung. Dad, why did you suddenly get up? Are you going to eat snacks? Kyung Kyung. Why only you? Give me some too. Kyungi and Fenrir, who had been calm while Sejun ate Aileen's cookies, followed him into the void storage. Thanks to this, they had another snack time. Ahem. Sejun sensed Theo's presence from afar. Did he already get the land deed? At that moment, Pew Hut, Chairman Park, I missed you, meow. Theo suddenly appeared, clinging to Sejun's face and rubbing his own face against Sejun's head. Theo's new technique, meow meow step, allowed him to move a few kilometers almost instantaneously, although it was limited to moving towards Sejun. Kaiwat Kaiwat Kaiwat, hello Sejunim. Yona's voice was heard in his ear. Meow. Yeah, Yona, hello. Sejun greeted Yona after pulling Theo off his face by the scruff of his neck. Vice Chairman Theo, did you get all the land deeds? He asked while setting Theo on his lap. No, meow. I only got the land deed for the 75th floor, meow. So let's go get the land deed for the 68th floor right away, meow. Theo said, hugging Sejun's lap tightly. Me too. Pew Hut, yes, meow. I'm going with Chairman Park to the 70th floor, meow. Why the 70th floor? We've already been there. The sealed capital of the Lizard Kingdom, Dino, on the 70th floor, has the land deed for the 68th floor, meow. On the 70th floor. When we looked around before, there was definitely nothing there. All right, then let's sleep and go in the morning. No, meow, we're leaving right now, meow. The journey is waiting for us, meow. It'll get dark soon anyway. If Chairman Park says so, I understand, meow. Then let's go to sleep, meow. Despite initially insisting strongly, Theo calmed down immediately at Sejun's words. The next morning, Pew Hut, then let's depart, meow. Sejun and his companions set off for the 70th floor of the tower. As Sejun headed to the 70th floor, the second dragon meeting was starting in the Red Dragon's territory. Pehaha, it's been a long time since so many dragons have gathered like this, Ramter said with a bright expression, looking at the dragons filling the Red Dragon's territory. It's almost impossible to mobilize this many dragons outside of wartime. But today, a total of 20,000 dragons had gathered, with 4,000 great red dragons and 2,000 dragons each from other tribes. Moreover, the dragons, who perceive a day as just a second, were not late at all to the appointed time. The large number of attendees was a sign of respect for the dragon hosting the meeting, so Ramter puffed out his chest with pride. Then let's start the meeting. At Ramter's words, the meeting began. Within a 1,000 km radius of each tower, only the dragons managing that tower should hunt the red mist, and other dragons are forbidden to hunt there. I think 2,000 km would be better. Then there would be overlapping areas. Are you trying to take over the area around the Golden Tower? Unlike the first dragon meeting, the second meeting was fiercely contentious. And what on earth is going on? Artemis Yull, the leader of the great golden dragons, and other great golden dragons could not understand the current situation. Dragons fighting over who gets to hunt the red mist. They were also irritated. The atmosphere clearly showed that the dragons were blatantly targeting the areas around the Golden Tower. We'll handle our tower ourselves, and any dragons wanting to hunt in our territory must get separate permission. Thus, Artemis quickly stepped in to organize the situation, and thanks to that, the meeting ended swiftly. Good, since the meeting is over, any dragons who wish to return may do so. At Ramter's words, not a single dragon left. Everyone was waiting for something. Puhuhuhu, of course no one would leave. Pahahaha, then since we have prepared some modest food for the dragons attending the meeting, please enjoy it. With Ramter's words, food appeared in the center, and the dragons began to fill their bowls with food. Since the food was unfamiliar, no one took a lot at first. Garitiak and honey. It's sweet potato soup. The hatchlings who had already tasted Sejun's food filled their bowls to the brim. Hocus, let's pack some in our dimensional storage too. Yes, Heckin Hyung. I'll pack some for Sylvia too. Apparently not satisfied, the hatchlings even stashed extra food in their dimensional storage for later, while the dragons were filling their bowls with Sejun's food. Here, take a glass each. Ramter brought out a bottle filled with golden samyangju. What a pity, if it weren't for the contract with Sejun, I would drink it all by myself. Ramter licked his lips as he looked at the bottle in his hand. Sejun had only given him one bottle of the golden samyangju. Sejun had a feeling that this golden samyangju was something extraordinary, so he provided only one bottle to complete the quest. Additionally, he made sure to draw up a separate contract stipulating that each leader of the dragon clans must drink a glass so that Ramter wouldn't drink it all by himself. Gurgle. As Ramter tilted the bottle, the golden liquid flowed out, accompanied by a rich aroma. When did our Sejun make something like this? No way, what kind of alcohol is this? That sneaky Ramter, did he receive new alcohol from Sejun all for himself? Kaiser, Kellyan, and Tyr, who drank Sejun's samyangju daily, could tell just by the aroma that this was different from the usual samyangju. To the great dragon clans. By then, Ramter had filled the other leaders' glasses with the golden samyangju and raised his glass. Cheers! The other leaders also raised their glasses and drank in unison. Gulp! Oh! The leaders marveled at the taste. At that moment, you have consumed the golden samyangju. The curse of forgetfulness is lifted. The curse of forgetfulness that had been cast on the leaders of the 9 dragon clans was completely removed. And then, the great black dragon Kaiser Pratani has drunk a glass of golden samyangju. The great white dragon Kellyan Maimb has drunk a glass of golden samyangju. Hehe, now it begins. Sejun watched the messages, eagerly anticipating the flood of rewards that would follow. Chapter 395, My Guys Are Scarier. Red Dragon's Territory. Was there something this delicious? The dragons were thrilled as they ate Sejun's food. And then, where did Lord Ramter get this food? The dragons were naturally curious about the source of the food. At that moment, Uncle Alex, I know. It's made by Park Sejun, the tower farmer of the Black Tower, and Aileen sells it there. Aunt Hannah, Sylvia knows. It was made by Park Sejun, the tower farmer of the Black Tower. The hatchlings eagerly showed off their knowledge to the dragons. This was the result of Aileen's efforts to teach the hatchlings. The tower farmer of the Black Tower. Park Sejun. Can you eat Park Sejun's cooking if you go to the Black Tower? Thanks to this, Sejun's fame started spreading among the dragons. All the leaders of the great 9 dragon clans have drunk a glass of golden samyangju. You have completed the quest. You have obtained 15 drops of harvest elixir as a quest completion reward. Puhut, the first reward has arrived. Sejun laughed as he looked at the message. He felt as excited as if he had received a text that a package had arrived at his door. At that moment, you have achieved the great feat of breaking the curse of forgetfulness placed on the great dragon race. As a reward for this great feat, you have obtained the title, Dragon Race's Helper. No matter the difference in rank, dragons will no longer despise you from now on. Your abilities will now apply to dragons as well. The last reward arrived. Dragon Race's Helper. Sejun didn't quite understand the last message and despise. What's that about? I've never been despised by a dragon. I've been ignored for being weak. But never despised, I swear. This title is completely useless. As Sejun thought that the second reward was of no benefit to him. From afar, the great black dragons praise your food highly. Your soul is greatly fulfilled by the high praise of numerous beings of high rank. Your mental strength increases by 1,000. Your mental strength has reached the limit of 500. Your mental strength cannot increase further. You have achieved a mental strength of 500. Your feeble will now slightly affects the world. The third reward, which Sejun hadn't even thought of, arrived. Sejun's mental strength increased significantly due to the high praise from the black dragons who ate his food, by 1,000 no less. In the past, there was no reaction even when dragons ate his food. However, with the title, Dragon Race's Helper, and his talent, the soul that healed its wounds activated on the dragons. On top of that, the timing was perfect as the hatchlings revealed that Sejun was the one who made the food, allowing him to receive proper praise. Thus, Sejun's mental strength instantly soared to the potential limit of 500. But Sejun briefly experienced a terrible headache that felt like his head would split. This was because the excessive mental strength of 700 was putting a strain on his soul. While food consumed by the mouth can be excreted, there was no other way to handle mental strength but to endure it. When the pain subsided, "But it's really useless," Sejun said as he looked at the last message. His mental strength stat had reached 500, but the only change was that the word very was removed from very feeble will, making it feeble will. Moreover, its impact on the world was still very slight. "Chairman Park, are you okay, meow?" "Squish, squish," Theo asked, pressing Sejun's right temple with his front paw. "Kyung, Daddy, are you okay?" Kyungi also asked in a worried voice. Though they didn't speak, the rest of the party looked at Sejun with concern. "It hurt a little, but I'm fine now," Sejun reassured his worried companions. At that moment, Kaying. "Hey, of course, your head hurts when you handle your mental strength like that. You need to do it like this and then like this. Watch carefully and follow me." Fenrir was eagerly trying to teach Sejun advanced techniques for handling mental strength, but, "Oh, is my Blackie hungry? We'll have a meal later, so hold off on snacks for now." Unfortunately, the conversation didn't get through. Sejun thought Fenrir was asking for a snack and patted his head to comfort him. "Now let's head to Dino. Kaiwat, I'll guide the way." Yona, who knew the location of Dino, the capital of the Lizard Kingdom before it was sealed, led the way. Just as they were about to set off, from afar, the great white dragons praise your food highly. A series of astonishing messages appeared, and Sejun's mental strength increased beyond what he could handle. There was something Sejun had overlooked. There were a total of 9 dragon clans. The praises from the remaining 8 dragon clans poured onto Sejun. From afar, the great red dragons praise your food highly. Your soul is greatly fulfilled by the high praise of numerous beings of high rank. Your mental strength increases by 2,000. Furthermore, the number of red dragons was twice that of other dragon clans, so his mental strength increased twice as much. Sejun's soul, which gained a total of 9,000 mental strength, beyond what he could bear. Bang! Thud! Sejun heard a bursting sound and fainted. "Chairman Park has fainted again, meow." "Kyung! Dad, wake up!" Theo and Kyungi hurriedly began massaging Sejun's unconscious body. Kaying. "Hey, I told you to do it like this." Fenrir, angry that Sejun wasn't listening, quickly placed his head against Sejun's head. Inside Sejun's mental world, one side of the mental world's wall had a huge hole. Due to the massive influx of mental strength from the dragon's praises, a hole had formed in Sejun's mental world. Too much mental strength was poison to Sejun, whose mind was as fragile as a sunfish. Alig! Sejun desperately clung to the ground, trying to resist the suction force coming from the hole. He instinctively knew that being sucked into that black hole would be the end. And indeed, the outside of Sejun's mental world was extremely dangerous. Emptiness. A world where nothing existed. If Sejun's mind were sucked into the emptiness, it would be devoured and vanish. Despite his desperate resistance, Sejun's body was getting closer to the hole. No, to be precise, the ground Sejun was holding onto was being sucked into the hole. as Sejun was on the verge of being swallowed by the emptiness. "Grrr, I told you to do it like this." A giant wolf appeared in Sejun's mental world, grumbling. Its body was curled up. Compared to Sejun's mental world, Fenrir's mind was enormous. Fenrir carefully wiggled his front paws to avoid tearing Sejun's mental world and blocked the hole in Sejun's mental world with his huge paw. With the mental world walls being this thin, no wonder there's a hole. I need to reinforce the walls with the excess mental strength. Fenrir closed his eyes and concentrated, reinforcing the boundaries of Sejun's mental world with the mental strength that couldn't be used anyway. While Fenrir was strengthening Sejun's mental world, Sejun opened his eyes. "Chairman Park, you're awake, meow." "Kyung. Dad, are you okay?" Theo and Kyungi, who were massaging Sejun's body, called out to him. "Yeah, I think I'm fine, but why am I lying down?" "Chairman Park, you fainted again, meow." "Kyung. Dad, it seems you almost died again." "Fainted?" Sejun looked puzzled at their words. "What? There was nothing special that would make me faint." "Ah, there is." Sejun then remembered that he had fainted upon receiving the message about his enormous increase in mental strength. He also recalled nearly being sucked into something inside his mental world. It seemed like he shouldn't casually give food to dragons in the future. But I feel like I heard Blackie's voice. Fenrir was too large, so he couldn't see his face. Was it my imagination? As Sejun was pondering whether he actually heard Fenrir's voice. "Your soul has been strengthened. Your mental strength potential has increased to 3,000. A message appeared. "What's going on?" Sejun was puzzled about the reason behind his increased potential. At that moment, Keikirorong. He heard Fenrir snoring by his head. Fenrir was exhausted from entering Sejun's mental world. However, "Blackie, you punk, I almost died and you're sleeping comfortably." Unaware of this, Sejun was annoyed at Fenrir. "Bew bew bew bup. Kaying. I'm tired, play with someone else." So Sejun mischievously blew raspberries on Fenrir's belly. "Pew hew hut, Chairman Park, do it to me too, meow." "Kyung. Kyungi likes belly raspberries too." Theo and Kyungi presented their bellas. A little while later. "Now let's go, Toryong." After giving belly raspberries to the two and carefully putting the deeply sleeping Fenrir into the sling bag, Sejun called for Toryong. After traveling for about an hour on Toryong, they arrived at a large lake. Kaiwat, we're here." Yona pointed to the lake and said, "Pio, this is where I came last time." Piat, who had patrolled this area before, recognized the place. "But where is the capital supposed to be?" Sejun asked Yona, looking at the seemingly empty lake. "Power of magic cancel." Instead of answering, Yona used a spell. Then, Wung, a giant dome-shaped gray barrier appeared over the lake, slowly turning into light and shattering. And the giant walls of Dino, hidden by an illusion spell, appeared. The lake's water was just a moat for the fortress. It had been hidden by a top-tier illusion spell, which was why Piat couldn't find it before. And then, Keikaki. At the highest point of the castle, a bird roaring and spewing flames could be seen. Phoenix. However, that's... In Sejun's eyes, it looked like a giant chicken with thick legs, perfect for being called chicken. Gulp. No, it wasn't me, it was Kyungi. Let's try talking first. Vice Chairman Theo, go and tell it to move aside. Sending Kyungi seemed like it would end up with neck twisting or biting, so Sejun sent Theo instead. Got it, meow. At Sejun's words, Theo ran towards the phoenix. And then, Keikakek. The phoenix, talking with Theo, suddenly got angry and created a massive fire. It seemed really mad. What did he say? As Sejun wondered why the phoenix was angry. Bang! Suddenly, Theo appeared behind the phoenix and knocked it out with a blow to the back of its head. Pio. Meanwhile, as if expecting something like this, Piot flew energetically from the start and received the phoenix's footprint right on time. Yeah, well, Theo did talk to it before hitting it. Could this also be considered self-defense? With a newly established concept of self-defense in mind, Sejun entered Dino, the capital of the Lizard Kingdom. Upon reaching the spot where the phoenix had fallen, plug, pew-hew-hud. Theo was plucking the phoenix's tail feathers and laughing like a villain. Then, Chairman Park, take these, meow. He handed Sejun 10 of the phoenix's tail feathers. What are these? I don't know, meow. I just felt a pull from them, meow. Pull. At Theo's response, Sejun hurriedly checked the red feathers. Phoenix's tail feather. These tail feathers of the immortal phoenix contain the powerful essence of flame and are an excellent material. If used to craft equipment, there is a high probability of creating legendary-grade items. Using these feathers, you can create fire attribute weapons, staff that double the power of fire attribute attacks, or farming tools that increase crop growth speed by 5%. Grade SSS. Oh, these are great. Farming tools that increase growth speed by 5%. Pew-hew-hut, did I do well, meow? Yes, you did well. Pew-hew-hut, I know, meow. I Vice Chairman Theo always do well, meow. Kyung. In the meantime, Sejun stopped Kyungi from twisting the phoenix's neck and woke the phoenix up. Keikaki. Eek my feathers. As soon as the phoenix woke up, it created flames of anger upon seeing its bare tail, but Hawk, stay still, meow. With a single growl from Theo, not wanting to get hit again, it quickly extinguished the flames. Then, so why did you settle here? After the phoenix calmed down, Sejun asked why it had taken over Dino. Keikaki. It's safe here. The phoenix explained that it originally lived on the 95th floor of the tower, but fled here to escape monsters that coveted its power. Really? Then we'll send you back home. Keikaki. Really? But really scary guys have taken over my nest. The phoenix's voice was filled with hope and fear as it responded to Sejun. Don't worry. Hehe, my guys are scarier. Sejun smiled wickedly, like a villain. Pew-hew-hud. Kyu-he-he. Theo and Kyungi also followed Sejun's lead and laughed as wickedly as they could. What's going on? The phoenix felt like it had teamed up with the villains. Chapter 396, Pew-hew-hud. Take me to the supergiant Chairman Park, meow. Black Tower, 70th floor. The phoenix will wait here, heh. Then let's go rob the treasure vault, shall we? Guys, let's go. Pew-hew-hut, got it, meow. Let's sweep it all up, meow. Sejun and his party entered the castle in search of the treasure vault of the Lizard Kingdom. The interior of the castle was wide, with many paths branching off in a complex manner, but Pew-hew-hut, Chairman Park over there, meow. My front paw is being pulled, meow. Theo, clinging to Sejun's knee, raised his front paw to lead Sejun to the treasure vault. Hehe, this is really exciting. Sejun, who had never robbed someone else's treasure vault before, spoke in an excited voice. Pew-hew-hut, Chairman Park, just trust me, meow. Theo, the professional treasure vault thief, said with a haughty voice, puffing up with pride. All right, I'll trust only you, Vice Chairman Theo. Sejun said as he patted Theo's head. Usually, Sejun would find Theo's arrogant attitude annoying, but today, Theo's presence was very reassuring. A short while later. Is it here? Pew-hew-hut, that's right, meow, it's here, meow. Following Theo's golden front paw navigation, Sejun and his party arrived in front of a gigantic door. As the party hurried to open the door and enter the treasure vault. Kaiwat, wait a moment, there are spells here. Yona stopped the party. The treasure vault was protected by multiple layers of security spells to prevent intruders. Kaiwat. Yona analyzed the patterns of the spells cast on the treasure vault. Cancel. With a single spell, Iona nullified all the security spells on the treasure vault. Truly, a great wizard was on a different level. Kyung. Kyungi used his strength to open the now unsealed treasure vault door. Kugung. The door opened with a heavy sound. Inside, jewels and gold were piled up to a height of about 5 meters. Pew hut, gather everything from here to here, meow. Theo drew a line in the center of the treasure vault floor to indicate to the party how much treasure they should take. While the party was busy gathering the treasures. Tag, tag, tag. Sejun started tapping the walls and floor of the treasure vault. Meow, Chairman Park, what are you doing, meow? Ho ho, just wait. In places like these there are often hidden spaces. Sejun said in an excited voice. He had seen it many times in movies. Well, it didn't matter if he couldn't find anything. He was doing it for fun. Meow, really meow. Chairman Park, can you find a hidden space, meow? Theo, who was clinging to Sejun's leg, looked up at Sejun with eyes full of admiration. As expected, Chairman Park is amazing, meow. Finding treasure with his golden front paw was a greater ability, but to Theo, a Sejun zealot, everything Sejun did seemed amazing. Of course, he must definitely find it. Sejun's eyes turned serious at Theo's gaze. What had started as fun now had to be done to maintain his authority. As Sejun diligently tapped the walls. Thunk. Hug. This sound here is different. The sound from the wall in the right corner of the treasure vault was light and hollow compared to other places. Fortunately, there was indeed a hidden space. Vice Chairman Theo, your claws, please. Got it, meow. Scratch. As Theo extended his claws, Sejun grabbed Theo's front paw and started cutting the wall in a circular shape with a serious expression. After cutting the bottom, thud, Sejun pushed the cut wall with his foot. Kunk. The wall fell and, oh, there it is. A hidden passage appeared. Kyungi. Kyung. Did you call me Dad? Kyungi, who was packing treasures into Sejun's void storage, ran over at Sejun's call. Yeah, let's explore in there with Dad. Sejun pointed to the passage beyond the wall. Kyung. Kyungi loves exploring, Dad. Kyungi quickly took his position in front of Sejun. Then let's go. With Theo, Kyungi, and Iona leading, Sejun entered the passage. Unlike the treasure vault, the passage was dark due to the lack of lighting. Light. But with Iona's magic, it wasn't inconvenient. As they moved along the passage, they arrived at a room made of golden walls. What is this? As Sejun looked at the lizardman statue with a red gem embedded in its forehead, standing in the middle of the room. Fate has not yet decreed my death, it seems. The entity within the red gem also looked at Sejun. The lizardman's race god, Kelly. Kelly had been enshrined here since the founding of the Lizard Kingdom. However, ever since being sealed, he had been waiting for his death, but Sejun and his party had arrived. Kelly quickly searched the surroundings for a suitable body to inhabit. Though his strength is the weakest, that one is their leader, I must choose him. Kelly chose Sejun as the body to inhabit. Although his strength was weak, it was evident that everyone in the party relied on Sejun. As Kelly prepared to transfer into Sejun's body, Wang. The red gem began to glow. Chairman Park, it's dangerous, meow. Step back, meow. Theo, who had experienced this before, shouted to Sejun and lunged at the lizardman statue, grabbing the red gem. And then, Pew hut, take me to the supergiant Chairman Park, meow. Theo lost consciousness. Vice Chairman Theo. Sejun hurriedly laid Theo on his lap and checked his condition. Kyung. Big brother fainted too. Everyone is so weak. As Theo collapsed right after Sejun in one day, Kyungi cried while massaging Theo's body. However, contrary to their worries, Theo's lips curled up into a smile. Kaiwat, it seems he's having a good dream. Only Iona, who had experienced this before, smiled as she watched Theo dreaming. A little later, you have destroyed the race god of the lizardmen, Kelly. Due to the effect of title, Godslayer, you absorb a portion of the power of the deceased race god of the lizardman, Kelly. All stats increase by 20. Mental strength increases by 100. Along with the message that he had destroyed a god, Sejun's stats increased. Thanks to this, Sejun understood how he had obtained the title of Godslayer. It's because of Theo. Sejun didn't understand why Theo's killings were credited to him. But he just accepted it. Many incomprehensible things happen when Theo is involved. But I didn't know Godslayer had such an effect. As Sejun laughed while experiencing the effect of title, Godslayer for the first time. Pew Hut, as expected, real Chairman Park's lap is the best, meow. Theo, who had woken up, enthusiastically rubbed his body against Sejun's lap. Once Theo was awake. Heh, guys, take this too. Pew Hut, as expected of Chairman Park, meow. I didn't think of taking the wall, meow. Theo, who had learned a thing or two from Sejun, marveled as he dismantled the golden wall of the room where Kelly had been. They took only half the wall, as per the agreement. Successfully looting the hidden location, the four of them. Hezeli. Pew Hut. Qeha. Kaiwat. Returned to the treasure vault and started packing up the remaining treasures. The Red Dragon's territory. Puhaha, everyone looks like they're having fun. Ramter, the great leader of the Red Dragons, looked around and spoke. The dragons had finished eating the soup, garidiox and fruits Sejun had prepared, and were now drinking alcohol with spicy fish stew as a side dish. Drinking alcohol with the spicy fish stew made the drinks go down smoothly. Thus, the second dragon meeting was a success, but the other leaders felt immense pressure. Because when they host the next dragon meeting, they would have to do at least this much. However, there were two leaders who did not feel any pressure. One was Artemis Yull, the leader of the great golden dragons, who had already hosted a dragon meeting. The other was Kaiser Pratani, the great leader of the black dragons, who would host the third dragon meeting. Even though the third dragon meeting would be held in the Black Tower, which should add pressure, Kaiser was not worried. Rather, he was eagerly waiting for the 30 days to pass so that the third dragon meeting could start. Hugh. Since there's enough time left, I should ask our Sejun to make the next dragon meeting even grander. Kaiser's mind was filled with thoughts of hosting a more magnificent dragon meeting than Ramter's. Hugh, the alcohol tastes good. Hey, take it easy, you're next after me. Seeing Kaiser's triumphant expression, as if he had already won, made Kellyan uneasy. Puahaha, now let's all toast to the prosperity of the great dragon race, to the great dragons. To the great dragons. As the dragons continued drinking. Guys, let's go see Aileen. She must be lonely by herself. Yeah, let's go. We can also get some delicious food. Sure, as Aileen's older Opa Garrick should go and play with her. Me too. Sylvia, her and I will play with Aileen too. The hatchlings, worried about the youngest Aileen being alone, decided to go to the Black Tower to play with her. When all 6 hatchlings agreed to go to the Black Tower. Mom, we want to go to the Black Tower. Mom, we want to go to the Black Tower to play with Aileen. Dad, Sylvia wants to go to the Black Tower. The hatchlings went to where their parents were gathered and firmly expressed their intention. If they didn't get permission, they were ready to cry right away. Will really cry. The parents, who wanted to continue their fun, sighed and carried the hatchlings, flying to the Black Tower. It's already full, Sejun said, looking at his void storage, which was packed with treasures. Then, let's put the rest in Vice Chairman Theo's bag. Pew Hut, got it, meow. While the group was packing the remaining treasures into Theo's bundle. Kaying. Fenrir woke up. Blackie, you're awake. Are you hungry? Sejun placed Fenrir's food bowl on one side of the treasure vault, filled it with milk, and added 3 pieces of dried sweet potato. Since Fenrir had missed his meal while sleeping, Sejun gave him 3 pieces. Kivit Kaying. Hehe, as expected, a butler who knows gratitude. Fenrir thought that Sejun knew he had saved him. Chomp chomp chomp, while Fenrir was busily eating. Heave-ho! Sejun continued to move the treasures. At that moment, Pio, Sejun Nim, I found it. Piat, who had been gathering treasures, flew to Sejun with a document in his beak. It was a land deed for the 68th floor of the tower. Piat, good job, here, take this. Sejun patted Piat's head and handed him a pouch filled with peanuts. Pio, thank you. Piu-hu-hut. Piat packed the peanut pouch and smiled brightly. A little while later, let's go. Sejun and his party, who had gathered half of the treasure in the vault, stepped outside. As they were exiting, Keikaki, they heard the cry of the phoenix from outside. What is it? Let's hurry out, Kyungi. Kyung. Got it. Kyungi used his telekinesis to quickly move Sejun and the flightless Urin outside. Theo clung to Sejun's knee, and Iona hung onto Theo's tail, moving with Sejun. When they got outside, catch it. Don't overdo it, just bind its wings first. Thousands of skeleton mages were hunting the phoenix. Kaiwo Kaiwo Kaiwo, power of gravity, crush the enemies at my command, gravity control. Furious that they had targeted Theo's belonging, Iona became enraged and used gravity magic, and crack! The skeletons, crushed under 5 times the normal gravity, shattered instantly. As the skeletons shattered like that, Piu-hu-hut, how dare you target Vice Chairman Theo's slave, meow. They're all getting stamped, meow. Theo, Kyungi, Piat, and Urin collected the thumb bones of the skeletons and got their stamps on the contracts. You bastard, what are you doing? Our comrades will avenge us. A skeleton with only its skull intact, trying to intimidate the enemy, shouted. Meow, there are more comrades, meow. For Theo, this was very welcome news. Where are your comrades, meow? That is. Hurry up and tell me, meow. Slave King Theo persistently inquired about the location of the next potential slaves. Chapter 397, Hehe, I have a lot of this. Black Tower Administrator Area. Black Tower 4th Floor Flesh Eater Extermination Contributions. First, Park Sejun, 19,920,042 monsters. Second, Han Tae-jun, 3,312 monsters. Third, Leon, 2,134 monsters. Keihe, everyone keep it up. Aileen cheered for those fighting hard on the 4th floor of the tower, while looking at Sejun's contribution displayed on the crystal orb. Keihe, if we take down just 10 million more, I can buy a power to make our Sejun even stronger. While powers could be purchased with money, Aileen aimed for a special power that could only be acquired through contributions. Mid-level administrator of the Black Tower and Tower Farmer Park Sejun's contribution have increased by 1 point. Keihe, it's rising well. While Aileen was playing by herself, while watching Sejun's contribution points go up like that. Thud. Several dragons entered the administrator area. They were parent dragons and hatchlings. Aileen, where are you? Aileen, Hocus Opa is here. Your Sylvia Unnai is here too. As soon as the hatchlings arrived at the Black Tower, they ran towards Aileen, calling out for her. I was having fun just now. Aileen put down the crystal orb and went to greet the guests. Welcome Unnai Opas. Aileen, you must have been bored by yourself, right? Huh. We'll play with you. Aileen was taken aback by the hatchlings, who were eager to play with her. No, I'm not bored. Watching my Sejun's contribution rise is so much fun. I Hocus Yull will make sure you're not bored. What are you talking about? Sylvia will play with Aileen and have fun. No way, I will play with her. The hatchlings argued over who would play with Aileen, not knowing her thoughts. How can I get Unnai and Opas to play together without fighting? In the meantime, Aileen thought of a way for everyone to play together. If she played with just one hatchling, the others would sulk. If the sulking hatchlings didn't visit the Black Tower, it would mean a decline in Sejun's crop sales. That can't happen. Sales that have gone up once must never go down, never. They needed a game that everyone could play together. Ah, that will work. Anai Opaz, let's play hide-and-seek. Aileen suggested to the hatchlings, who were still arguing. Hide-and-seek? What's that? Never heard of it. The hatchlings were intrigued by the new game. Hide-and-seek is. Aileen explained the rules of hide-and-seek. Of course, Aileen learned about hide-and-seek from Sejun. In the past, Sejun, wanting some alone time, played hide-and-seek with the tower members, intending to hide and not come out. However, he was found immediately. Puhuhut found you, meow. Since the seeker was Theo, getting caught was inevitable. This was before Sejun knew Theo had a Sejun detector. Thus, Sejun became the seeker right away. As he wandered around looking for the hidden ones, he realized that if he didn't find them, he could have alone time by himself. But, Kyungi's hungry and can't hide anymore. Because Sejun wasn't looking for him, Kyungi cried out, and the hide-and-seek ended. Kehehe, Sejun was really funny back then. Aileen laughed as she recalled Sejun's flustered expression. So we just have to hide without using magic. Yes, Hakan Opa. Oh, that sounds fun. Then Garrick, will be the seeker. Fortunately, the hatchlings showed interest in hide-and-seek. Then hide quickly, I'll start counting, 1, 2. As Garrick covered his eyes and started counting. Aileen, hide with me. Hakan Hyung, you're too big. We'll get caught if we hide together, so Aileen, come with me. The hatchlings began to fight over who would hide with Aileen. At that moment, Haha, Sylvia, I'm the smallest here, so Aileen will hide with Sylvia. Let's go, Aileen. Sylvia grabbed Aileen's hand and ran. Thus, Aileen ended up hiding with Sylvia. Aileen, just trust me. Okay. She followed the confident Sylvia. But since Sylvia had never played hide-and-seek before, she didn't hide well. Sylvia, Unnai, you were about to go over there, right? That's a really good idea. Aileen subtly suggested a hiding place to Sylvia. Of course, I know since I'm your Unnai, hehe. Sylvia, pleased with Aileen's words, managed to find a good hiding spot as Aileen intended. After playing hide-and-seek for a while, the hatchlings became hungry. Let's eat something. Sure. The hatchlings wanted a snack. Aileen, can you give us some garitiaks with honey? We want some dried sweet potatoes. We want roasted corn. The parents began to buy snacks from Aileen. Playtime was playtime and business was business. Aileen was thorough in separating the two. Kehehe, this works well too. Aileen, back to being a seller from a pampered youngest, smiled as she sold Sejun's food. The parent dragons were also very satisfied with the situation. Since the hatchlings were playing among themselves, they could relax. Should we meet at the Black Tower regularly from now on? That sounds good. While the parents were planning their future gatherings. Let's play hide-and-seek again. The hatchlings, having finished their snacks, started playing again. This time, Aileen is the seeker, so Unnai and Opaz hide quickly. Initially, Aileen thought she was just being playful with her Unnai and Opaz. 1, 2, 3. As Aileen counted with her eyes closed, her face was soon filled with genuine joy. 70th floor of the tower. Where are your comrades, meow? I will never tell you. Speak, meow. Despite Theo's pressure, the skeleton didn't reveal the location of its comrades. Vice Chairman Theo, don't get too worked up. If we find their thumbs, we can make them talk. Once they become slaves, their thinking will have no choice but to change. Puhuhut, as expected, Chairman Park is smart, meow. Following Sejun's advice, Theo quickly found the skeleton's thumbs and started stamping the contracts. Guys, let's help out too. Sejun and the others also found the thumbs and stamped the contracts. Several hours passed like that. Oh, my back, Sejun, who had been diligently finding thumbs and stamping, stood up and stretched widely. Mi-yo. Kuyeng. Q. Piyuat. He. His companions stretched along with him. This is harder than collecting treasure. Sejun looked at the towering piles of sorted thumbs and said, with so many skeletons, finding and stamping the thumbs was an enormous task. There were still many unchecked bones left. At that moment, gruel. Kyungi's stomach rumbled. It was dinner time. Since finishing today seemed impossible, the remaining work would have to be done tomorrow. Let's eat first. Vice Chairman Theo, please catch some fish. Got it, meow. Following Sejun's instructions, Theo hunted fish from the moat, and Sejun prepared and grilled them deliciously. As expected, fish grilled with Chairman Park's care is the best, meow. Kyung. It's delicious. Kaying. More, give me more. While the group enjoyed their grilled fish. Swish. A pile of fish bones quickly accumulated. Then, crunch. A strange noise came from the pile of fish bones. Huh. What is it, meow? Kyung. When Sejun got up to check the pile of bones. A skeleton. There, a skeleton's skull was munching happily on fish bones. Meow. That's the guy who didn't tell us his comrade's location earlier, meow. Theo recognized the skeleton and said, really? Now that he thought about it, they still hadn't found that skeleton's thumb bone. You like this, huh? Sejun said, as he moved the surrounding fish bones out of the skeleton's reach. Then, the skeleton visibly showed its disappointment. It seemed willing to do anything as long as it could eat the fish bones. Hehe, I have a lot of this, Sejun said, as he took out the fish bones he had stored for making broth from the void storage. The skeleton mimicked swallowing. Though it couldn't actually swallow, it acted like it did. If you stamp this contract, I'll give you one of these fish bones every day. How about it? If you want a stamp, move your thumb bone. When Sejun said this to the skeleton, rattle. Suddenly, the sound of moving thumb bones was heard from all around. The skeleton in front of him wasn't the only one who wanted the fish bones. As a result, the maintenance cost for the skeletons went from 0 to 1 fish bone a day, but it was no burden at all. As expected, Chairman Park is a genius, meow. Aha, doing this much is nothing. Sejun modestly replied to Theo's praise, but internally, hey, maybe I really am a genius. He felt incredibly proud. A little while later, they found and stamped the contract on all the moving thumb bones. Pew hut. Chairman Park, Anis says there are many slaves on the 96th floor of the tower, meow. Theo had found out the location of more comrades from Anis, the leader of the skeleton mages. The 96th floor of the tower. Kaiwat. The 96th floor of the tower is ruled by Regius, the Lord of Bones, who is considered sacred even among the sacred bones. Really? But we're stronger, right? Sejun asked Yona, slightly uneasy due to the impressive title of Lord of Bones. Kaiwat. Of course, we're more than enough. If you're worried, should we call the Minotaur King and the Black Minotaurs? Should we? Feeling uneasy, Sejun immediately nodded. Then I will contact the Minotaur King right away. No, we need to go to the 68th floor first, so contact them later. Kaiwat, yes. After finishing his conversation with Yona, Sejun played with Theo, Kyungi, and Fenrir before falling asleep. 99th floor of the Golden Tower. The third event of the Harvest Festival, the Cherry Tomato Juice Drinking Contest, will begin shortly. Participants who wish to join the contest, please gather in front of the High Elf's giant cherry tomato altar. What? Not alcohol but juice. The elves who were expecting alcohol were taken aback. No way. Cecilia was no different. Yay. Instead, young elves who could now participate cheered. And then, I'm so full. Cecilia came in last place again. But the honey-infused magical cherry tomato juice was really delicious. Cecilia smiled, recalling the taste of the juice she had just drunk. However, but the rewards will be even tastier, right? I'm so jealous. Thinking about the rewards, she quickly became sad. Oh, it's the rewards. Meanwhile, the winners of the contest received their prizes. Horrible cherry tomato goblin whiskey. It was an S-grade alcohol made by mixing Sejun's cherry tomatoes with the horrible goblin whiskey that Auric had brought to the Brown Tower. Thanks to this, Auric gained immense recognition from the Red Goblin tribe, but for the elves it was a disaster. Let's at least try it. Despite the name, it must taste good. Yeah. The winners who drank the rewarded alcohol ended up vomiting everything and passed out. Phew, thank goodness. Cecilia was grateful she didn't win. Later, when the winners woke up, they were so traumatized that they shuddered even at the mention of Goblin for months. The next morning, you guys go to the 4th floor of the tower, meow. Yes. The skeleton mages, under Theo's command, left for the 4th floor of the tower, preciously holding the bundle of fish bones inside their rib cages. And then, guys go inside the storage. Sejun put his companions into the void storage and swish. The summoning function for the initial engraving of the land deed for the 68th floor farm of the Black Tower has been activated. Sejun unfolded the deed for the 68th floor and disappeared. Chapter 398, Peace Be Sorry. You have arrived at the 68th floor of the Black Tower. Due to the effect of title, retrogressor, all stats increase by 31. Park Sejun arrived at the 68th floor of the tower. No room for complacency. As he quickly checked his surrounding to ensure there were no dangers. Clank. Chairman Park, I missed you, meow. Theo popped out of the void storage and clung to Sejun's face. Hey, I can't see. Sejun was about to scold Theo, who was blocking his view at this critical moment. Pew Pew Hut, there's nothing around that could threaten Chairman Park, meow. Bew bew boo boo. Sejun blew air into Theo's belly to give a belly fart in response to his comment. Pew Pew Hut, it tickles, meow. While Sejun was playing with Theo. But why aren't the others coming out? Curious, Sejun peered into the void storage. Kirorong. K Kirorong. Pirorong. Yurorong. The rest of the party was sound asleep on the golden floor of the storage. They must have been exhausted from the arduous task of finding the thumb bones and stamping them yesterday. Vice Chairman Theo, cover them with a blanket. Understood, meow. Sejun ordered Theo to cover them with blankets. Clank. And close the void storage so they could sleep comfortably. At that moment, a fragment of Fenrir's core, 0.5%, has been detected 270 km to the south. A message appeared indicating that a fragment of Fenrir's core had been detected. Thanks to the additional 1% Fenrir's core he had absorbed, the detection range had increased, and he could sense the power contained within the core fragments. Hehe, how convenient. Now, Sejun didn't need to wander around until Fenrir's core fragments were detected, allowing him to leisurely inspect the farm. There were 500 trees on the farm, each bearing an abundance of bright red fruits, smaller than a bottle cap. What kind of fruit is this? Plug. When Sejun harvested a fruit. You have harvested a cherry. Your job experience has slightly increased. Your proficiency of harvesting LV8 has slightly increased. You have gained 1 experience point. Messages appeared. So they're cherries. This was a cherry tree farm. These are delicious. Plug. Sejun harvested the cherries, ate the flesh, and put the seeds in his pocket to plant later on the 99th floor farm. Since he had 15 drops of the harvest elixir received as a quest reward, growing a cherry tree would be easy. Right, I should also use 1 drop on the sausage tree, hehe. Delicious sausage. As Sejun sang a song while thinking of a delicious recipe with sausages. Chairman Park is excited, meow. I'm excited too, meow. Delicious, meow, grilled fish, meow. Theo also sang his favorite food song following Sejun. While Sejun and Theo sang and harvested cherries. Clank. Kyung. Kyungi is awake. Kyungi emerged from the void storage and clung to Sejun's back, who was picking cherries. Kyungi, did you sleep well? Kyuehe Kyung. Hehe, yes. Kyungi, who had just woken up, rubbed his face against Sejun's back in a good mood. Pio, I just took a short nap. Sleeping on gold, huh? It must have been a sweet nap. I'll have to sleep on gold from now on. Following Kyungi, Piat and Urin also woke up and came outside. At that moment, kaying, the sound of Fenrir crying came from inside the void storage. What is it? Sejun entered the storage. Kaying, why won't this come off? Fenrir was struggling to remove a golden bracelet decorated with jewels stuck around his waist. How do you sleep to get that stuck on your waist? Is our Blackie flexing? Sejun teased Fenrir, lifting him by the scruff of his neck. The bracelet slid off easily. Blackie, let's go outside now. Sejun put Fenrir into a sling bag, slung it over his shoulder, and went outside to join his companions in harvesting cherries. After a while, when Sejun had harvested all the cherries within arm's reach, land moving. Using his skill, he made the ground beneath the field rise up, allowing him to harvest the cherries from the upper parts of the trees. But, what's this? Why are these cherries like this? Most of the cherries at the top of the trees were slightly damaged, as if someone had pecked at them. At that moment, a quest has occurred. Quest: the cherry trees want revenge on the cherry pecker who eats cherries for fun and only leaves them wounded. Catch the cherry pecker. Reward: recognized as the rightful owner of the land deed. A land deed quest appeared. Cherry pecker. Now that I think about it, I haven't been recognized as the owner of the land deed yet. Only then did Sejun realize that he had not yet become the owner of the farm. Catching them should be easy. The culprit would appear at the scene again, so all he had to do was wait in hiding. Moreover, we have a specialist in staking out. Peacebees. Pip. In response to Sejun's call, Peacebees, who had been sleeping attached to Sejun's butt, answered in a sleepy voice. It was dawn for Peacebees. Peacebees, I'm sorry. He was sorry for waking him up, but also for something else. I ate sweet potatoes for breakfast. Feeling various kinds of guilt, Sejun massaged Peacebees with his fingers. Pip, Sejun Nim, it's okay. Thanks to Sejun's massage, Peacebees fully woke up and answered in a vigorous voice. Hide here, and when you see the cherry eaters, chase them and let me know where they are. Since Sejun knew that Peacebees was next to Flamey in terms of weakness, he didn't tell him to fight directly. Pip, yes, leave it to me. Peacebees saluted Sejun and disappeared into the air. He used his stealth skill. Then let's go find the core fragment. With Peacebees in stealth mode, Sejun and his companions left the cherry tree farm. Sejun and his companions, or more precisely, Theo, Iona, and Kyungi, who had strong energy, would keep the cherry peckers away. So Sejun decided to collect Fenrir's core fragment while staying far away from the cherry tree farm. You guys watch the farm from a distance and help Peacebees if a fight breaks out. Pio? Yes. For Peacebees' safety, Sejun stationed Piat and Urin near the cherry tree farm. And then, Toryang. Sejun rode south with the remaining companions and Toryang. After traveling 270 km south, they arrived at a huge lake. And there was a giant fish with a fragment of Fenrir's core embedded in its side. Cog, the predator king of Lake Urin. There were no other creatures in the lake. It seemed Cog had eaten them all, true to its name. Meow, it's a giant fish, meow. While Theo cheered at the sight of Cog. Bang! Cog, having spotted Sejun and his companions, charged towards them, creating a water stream. Chairman Park, lend me some money, meow. Sure. Sejun, who had abundant wealth, readily agreed. However, he didn't tell Theo to get it himself, as he might burn everything. Is this enough? Sejun took a handful of gold ornaments from the void storage and handed it to Theo. Hut, Chairman Park's wealth is all I need, meow, burned brightly meow. F whoosh. At Theo's exclamation, the wealth disappeared, and Theo's body glowed with a golden light. Meow. As Theo swung his golden glowing paw, a golden magical blade shot out, cleanly slicing off the part where Fenrir's core fragment was embedded in Cog's side. Pew hu hut, Kyungi catch it meow. Tonight's dinner is grilled giant fish meow. Kyung. Got it. At Theo's command, Kyungi charged forward, striking Cog's head where Fenrir's core fragment had been removed. Herbalist Kyungi has killed Cog, the predator king of Lake Urin. You have gained 30 million experience points, 50% of the experience obtained by Herbalist Kyungi. You have leveled up. You have gained 1 bonus stat. Strength increased by 10. Thud. As Cog collapsed, Sejun's level increased. Pew hu hut, Chairman Park, here it is meow. Theo brought Fenrir's core fragment to Sejun. Well done, Vice Chairman Theo. Sejun praised Theo and glanced at Fenrir. He was sure Fenrir would demand it. However, Fenrir showed no interest in the core fragment. Hee, I'll have him eat that later. Fenrir had decided to leave the weaker cores to Sejun from now on. Let's go back now. With his level up, Fenrir's core fragment, and something for dinner secured, Sejun was returning to the cherry tree farm when... Pip pip, they're here. The cherry destroyers appeared in front of Peacebees, who was in hiding. Caw. Their identity was revealed to be crows. The crows would peck at a cherry once, then move on to another, repeating the process. They really only pecked, enough to make the cherries hold a grudge. While the crows were eating the cherries. Pip pip, how dare they touch Sejun Nim's fruit? I'll teach them a lesson. Speaking in a frequency no one could hear, Peacebees used his pip step to quickly move. In an instant, Peacebees moved behind the crows and knocked them out by striking their heads. Thud thud thud. In the blink of an eye, 500 crows were knocked out and fell to the ground due to Peacebees' attack. When the crows were subdued, Peacebees were here. Sejun called out to Peacebees upon arriving at the farm. Pip pip, you're back. Peacebees appeared on Sejun's shoulder and greeted him. Yes, nothing happened, huh? What is all this? Sejun, greeting Peacebees, was startled at the sight of the unconscious crows on the ground. Piat and Urin had said there was no commotion at the cherry tree farm. That meant the enemy had no chance to resist. Peacebees, who did this? Pip pip, I did it. Peacebees puffed out his chest and looked at Sejun with eyes that said, did I do well? But our Peacebees is strong too. Sejun's eyes were filled with disappointment. While Sejun was realizing Peacebees' combat prowess and feeling disheartened. You have knocked out all the cherry peckers. You have completed the quest. As a reward for completing the quest, you have been recognized as the rightful owner of the land deed for the cherry tree farm on the 68th floor of the Black Tower. Land deed skill, farm information LV, max is activated. A quest completion message appeared. Pew hu hut piat, let's get the stamp meow. Pio? Yes. In the meantime, Theo and Piat got the crows' footprints on the contract. Like that, the crows became the caretakers of the cherry tree farm, under the condition of receiving 10 peanuts daily. Take good care of it. Leaving the cherry tree farm behind, Sejun. Waypoint on the 68th floor of the Black Tower has been saved. Arrived at the waypoint, the boss on the 68th floor was a general from the Lizard Kingdom who knew Theo, so they comfortably passed for free. Chairman Park, it's finally time, meow. Theo handed Sejun the land deed for the 75th floor of the tower. Yes. Let's make our vice chairman Theo a legendary merchant. Sejun nodded at Theo and put his companions into the void storage, then unfolded the tower document. You have arrived at the 75th floor of the Black Tower. Thus, Sejun arrived at the farm on the 75th floor of the tower. You have been recognized as the rightful owner of the Acacia Tree Farm on the 75th floor of the Black Tower. Land deed skill, farm information LV, max is activated. This time, he became the owner of the farm without any quests. Acacia. Did it bear any fruit? While Sejun was pondering how to utilize the acacia trees. Clank. Chairman Park, I missed you, meow. Yona, let's go, meow. Theo came out of the void storage and called to Yona. Kaiwat, Kaiwat, Kaiwat. Yes, power of space teleport. With Yona's magic, they arrived in front of the chairman's office at the headquarters of the Wandering Merchant Association. And then, fail. Theo, who had visited Mason with Sejun, Kyungi, and Iona, failed to pass the first stage of the promotion exam. Why, meow? Do you really not know? I don't know, meow. Phew, there are two individuals with no reputation, aren't there? Mason said, looking at Sejun and Kyungi. Sejun and Kyungi didn't have much reputation in the Black Tower. Chapter 399, Hee hee, am I a social star now? The 75th floor of the tower, in the chairman's office of the Wandering Merchant Association. Mason of the Wandering Merchant Association was taking care of the usual association business. At that moment, knock knock. Chairman Theo Park is here. A subordinate informed him of Theo's visit. All right, let him in. Upon hearing the report, Mason quickly responded and got up from his seat. Theo, who had brought the great destructive wizard Iona, the legendary merchant Urin, and the kingdom of Kav's diplomat Piat, but refused to take the first-level promotion test for legendary merchant. He wondered what kind of amazing individuals Theo had brought this time instead. A moment later, Pew Hugh Hut, Mason, I've come to take the legendary merchant test, meow. Theo entered, bringing 3 renowned individuals for the first-level legendary merchant promotion test. However, except for Yona, the other 2 were unfamiliar even to him. I guess I have to use that. There was no way he wouldn't know these individuals, but to be sure, Mason picked up a blue rectangular panel from his desk. It was a fame detector, an item that evaluates and informs about the fame of everyone existing in the Black Tower. Detect fame. Mason brought Sejun, Kyungi, and Iona within the rectangular panel and activated the fame detector. Then, fame points. Park Sejun, 3 points. Kyungi Park, 13 points. Iona, 91 points. The names and fame of the 3 appeared. It wasn't a mistake. The fame of the 2, except for Iona, was indeed poor. Kyungi at least had a double-digit fame, probably due to his win in the food fight competition. The cutoff for the promotion test was 70 points. What is this? Mason couldn't understand why Theo had brought the 2 of them. It seemed that urgent matters had come up for the legendary merchant Urin and the kingdom of Kav's diplomat Piat, leaving Theo no choice but to bring just anyone. If only he had taken the test last time, this wouldn't have happened. Unfortunately, a test is a test. The chairman should not be swayed by emotions. After looking at Theo with pity, fail. He failed Theo in the first-level legendary merchant promotion test. After failing Theo, a few words were exchanged, and the atmosphere in the chairman's office turned chaotic. Chairman Park is my, Vice Chairman Theo's chairman, meow, and Kyungi is my little brother, meow. There's no way they have no fame, meow. Mason, you're a fraud, meow. Angered by Mason's remarks about Sejun and Kyungi having no fame, Theo began to argue. Ionanim, could you please do something about Theo Park? Mason tried to ask Theo's girlfriend, Yona, for help, but Kairo. You disrespected Sejun Nim and made Theo angry. Instead of calming things down, Iona was even more furious. Ionanim, please calm down. Mason, who never imagined he would see the 5th level of anger in person, screamed in fright. At that moment, guys, calm down. Sejun stepped forward and calmed the 2 down. All right, meow. Kaiwat, yes. At Sejun's words, the 2 immediately quieted down. What is this? Mason was astonished to see Sejun, who was at the bottom in both fame and strength, calming down the currently hottest figures in the Black Tower, the golden cat Theo Park and the great destructive wizard Iona, with just a word. The thought of looking down on Sejun, who had the lowest fame and strength here, completely vanished. The person before him was no ordinary being. As Mason greatly revised his evaluation of Sejun. Why did Theo fail? Sejun, who didn't yet know the content of the first-level promotion test, asked Mason. Well, Mason, glad to have someone reasonable to talk to, hurriedly began explaining to Sejun. If he couldn't persuade Sejun here, the Wandering Merchants Association might disappear today. So, you're saying that he need to bring 3 people with a fame score of 70 or higher for the test to pass? Yes. It wasn't his fault. He was just delivering the test results based on the fame scores shown by the fame detector. Mason vigorously nodded his head in response to Sejun's words. Then can you show me the fame detector? Of course. Mason hurriedly showed the fame detector to Sejun. Sejun's expression hardened as he confirmed the scores displayed on the fame detector. They're too low, way too low. Aileen, the administrator of the Black Tower, Kaiser Nim, Kellyan Nim, Ramter Nim, and Tyr Nim all love my cooking so much. Moreover, my name is known among the dragons of other towers, and even the gods are asking me to build temples for them. And yet my fame is just 3 points. And why is Kyungi's fame higher than mine? By 10 points no less. Something is seriously wrong here. At that moment, Kyung. Kyungi's fame is higher than Dad. Kyungi, who had climbed up onto Sejun's shoulder, looked at the fame detector and laughed. Sejun's expression grew even more rigid. Chairman Park, your face looks ugly, meow. Theo quickly pressed Sejun's face with his paws. Thanks to that, Sejun's mood improved slightly. Aileen, take a look at this. He sent the fame detector to Aileen. No matter how he thought about it, the item seemed broken. Kyungi won the food fighter competition. Kyungi is famous. Meanwhile, Kyungi, realizing that his fame was too low, grabbed Mason by the collar and shook him. Calm down. Shaking me won't increase your fame. Kaiwat. Chairman Mason, how can the you representing the Wandering Merchants have such a poor judgment? Yona looked at Mason with pity. It was all his own doing. Black Tower Administrator Area. Kairine, what is this? Aileen tilted her head as she examined the fame detector Sejun had given her. But, how dare you give my Sejun only 3 points? Soon she looked at the panel of the fame detector and fumed with rage. But why is my Sejun's fame so low? Aileen spoke with a puzzled expression. Sejun was almost as famous as an idol among the dragons these days. More than half of the great dragons, who don't interact with each other much, knew or had heard of Sejun's name, indicating how famous he was. And yet his fame score was 3 points. Is it broken? Aileen, like Sejun, thought the fame detector was broken and inspected it thoroughly, but there was no error. At that moment, Aileen grandpa's back. Kaiser, who had returned from the Red Tower, manipulated the black dragon statue to announce his return to Aileen. Grandpa. Yes, did my granddaughter miss Grandpa? As Kaiser spoke emotionally, seeing Aileen welcoming him. Grandpa, why is my Sejun's fame like this? Aileen showed the fame detector to Kaiser. And then, Sejun's fame, what the? Why is our Sejun's fame just 3 points? Seeing Sejun's fame, Kaiser sobered up from the alcohol instantly. Right, it's strange, isn't it? Indeed, there's no way it could be like this. Even if our Sejun is insignificant, he has gained the recognition of us great dragons. 3 points is too much. Kaiser fell into deep thought. At that moment, Kaiser realized that he had blocked external information flowing into the Black Tower in the past to hide Aileen's identity. Aileen, check the external information link. External information link. At Kaiser's words, Aileen hurriedly picked up the crystal orb to find the external information link. External information link blocked. Grandfather, the external information link is blocked. I knew it, change that to connected. Okay. Aileen infused magic power into the crystal orb, changing the external information link to connected. Then, Wung. External information is being updated in the Black Tower. The amount of information to update is large due to the external link being closed for a long time. It will take 30 days to complete the update. Notifications appeared on the crystal orb. Prioritize updating information about Sejun, the tower farmer of the Black Tower. Prioritizing the update of information about Park Sejun, the tower farmer of the Black Tower. Update will take 3 minutes and 30 seconds to complete. A short while later. Update of information related to Park Sejun, the Black Tower's tower farmer, is complete. A notification appeared on the crystal orb. Oh, it's done. Aileen hurriedly checked the fame detector. Kehihi, now Sejun's fame is the highest. Sejun, there seemed to be an issue with the administrator settings. Check it again. Having resolved the issue, Aileen sent the fame detector back to Sejun. Seed Shop Headquarters. 6 tenant farmer mushroom ants of Park Sejun, the tower farmer of the Black Tower, have passed by your temple. Divine power increases by 0.0006. The mushroom ants are diligent today as well. Li, the god of abundance, smiled contentedly as she felt the divine power entering her body and infused a portion of the accumulated divine power into a golden box. Li was creating a new relic to give to Sejun. Heh, if I give this to Sejun later, he'll make my temple even bigger, right? Li smiled happily as she thought about meeting Sejun and headed outside. She needed to take care of the gods who were feeling uncomfortable due to the lack of divine power. As Li stepped out of her dwelling, well, she heard the cheers of the gods. What is it? When Li followed the sound, she found almost all the non-combat gods gathered together. Oh, 4 mushroom ants just passed by my temple. Whoa! The gods cheered at the words of Peblos, the god of pebbles, who was glowing with the divine power he had received. Guys, take this. Peblos handed out some of the divine power he had received to the gods who didn't look well. Thank you. The gods who received the divine power looked a little better. Oh, mushroom ants just passed by my temple too. In the meantime, Suns, the god of sand, began to glow. Well, the gods cheered again. And, take this. Suns also shared some of the divine power he had received with the gods who didn't look well. Until now, Li had almost single-handedly taken care of the gods without divine power, but now other gods who had received temples from Sejun were helping out. As expected of Park Sejun, Park Sejun, Park Sejun. As Li walked towards where the gods were gathered and chanted Sejun's name. Park Sejun, Park Sejun. The gathered gods also began to chant Sejun's name, while the non-combat gods were uniting by chanting Sejun's name. Why is it so noisy? A combat god from the neighboring building shouted loudly. Normally, they would have shut up immediately, but now we can also be self-sufficient in divine power. They were no longer their past selves. Park Sejun, Park Sejun. In voices barely audible, the non-combat gods continued to chant Sejun's name. Kyung Kyung. Kyungi's dad is Park Sejun and mom is Pink Fur. Kyungi's teacher is the Minotaur King, so why isn't Kyungi famous? Love you. Mason, who had been grabbed by the collar and shaken by Kyungi for several minutes, groaned in distress. The tower's administrator says there was an issue with the Black Tower administrator settings. The tower's administrator says to check the fame detector again. Okay, thanks, Aileen. In the meantime, Sejun rechecked the fame detector that Aileen had sent. Hehe, as expected, it was wrong. Sejun smiled contentedly as he looked at his updated fame score. Kyungi, wait a minute, here, look, now we passed the test, right? Sejun stopped Kyungi from shaking Mason and showed the fame detector to Mason. Fame scores. Park Sejun, 553 points. Kyungi Park, 113 points. Yona, 131 points. Kyungi and Iona's fame scores had also increased due to their connection with Sejun. What triple digits? Mason was shocked to see the triple-digit fame scores for the first time. The highest fame score possible in the Black Tower was 100 points. However, he had never seen anyone reach 100 points before. But now, 3 people had fame scores exceeding 100 points. And the highest score was 553 points. While Mason was in shock. Park Sejun, 554 points. Sejun's fame increased by 1 point. Thanks to the gods chanting Sejun's name, Sejun's fame was continually rising. Hey, am I a social star now? Sejun looked at Mason with a smug expression. Chapter 400. From now on, call me legendary merchant Theo Park. Theo Parknam, you have passed the first stage of the legendary merchant promotion test. Congratulations. Mason, who had witnessed the unbelievable sight of a 3-digit fame score, announced Theo's passing of the test while still somewhat dazed. Hut, thank you, meow. Chairman Park, we did it, meow. Theo said in a bright voice, rubbing his face against Sejun's knee. Kaiwat. With his right front paw, he patted Yona's head, who was hanging on his tail. At that moment, Dad, Kyungi is hungry. Kyungi, who was holding onto Mason's collar and shaking it vigorously, grabbed Sejun's hand and whined, seemingly hungry. Just a moment. Sejun took out a boiled egg fruit and milk from the void storage. Fenrir, who had been sleeping in the sling bag, slowly lifted his head and looked around. What are you eating? Did Blackie wake up to eat a snack too? When Sejun pulled out some dried sweet potato strips and put them in Fenrir's mouth. Kekila hit Kaying. It's tasty. Chomp. Fenrir chewed on the dried sweet potato strips a few times before falling back to sleep. Then, tab. Sejun and Kyungi sat at the table in the chairman's office, sharing the boiled egg fruit. Sejun was also feeling a bit peckish. Here. Hut, it's delicious, meow. Mason, bring on the second test, meow. Theo shouted at Mason in a confident voice, while eating the yolk Sejun gave him. Yes, the second stage of the legendary merchant promotion test requires you to bring 1,000 employment contracts. The second test was to determine if the candidate had the capability to hire a large number of employees as a legendary merchant. Hut, that's too easy, meow. Theo pulled out a thick bundle of contracts from his bundle, nearly 200,000 contracts. Although they were all slave contracts. Oh, Theo Parknam, you treat your employees very well. To Mason, they appeared to be favorable employment contracts that guaranteed daily wages and meals, and did not require more than 8 hours of work per day. Hearing so many employees, you are indeed impressive. You have passed the second stage of the legendary merchant promotion test as well. Hut, I am naturally impressive, meow. Chairman Park, don't you agree, meow? Of course, our Vice Chairman Theo is truly amazing. Usually he wouldn't indulge him, but today was a special day. Moreover, he couldn't dampen the enthusiasm outside, so Sejun praised Theo a bit excessively. Hut, I know I'm amazing, meow. The amazing Vice Chairman Theo and Great Chairman Park have done it again, meow. With Sejun's lavish praise, Theo became even more proud and said in an extremely confident voice, Mason, bring on the next test, meow. Thanks to Sejun's praise, he became even more proud and spoke in an immensely confident voice. Yes, the third stage of the legendary merchant promotion test is to test the power of a legendary merchant. A legendary merchant needs to excel in both business and strength. While Mason was explaining the test, putting on the monocle-type strength reader. Chairman Park, lend me some money, meow. All right. Theo borrowed money from Sejun. I can't let our Vice Chairman Theo be underestimated. Burn it all, Vice Chairman Theo. Sejun gave Theo 1/3 of the treasures from the void storage. Pew Hugh Hut, Chairman Park is a lot of wealth to burn, meow. When Theo happily burned the treasures given by Sejun. F whoosh. Theo's body shone with such a brilliant golden light that it almost looked like the sun. And then, bang, the strength reader, which could measure up to 999, was destroyed. Ah, that was an expensive item. Mason was devastated as he picked up the pieces of the broken strength reader. It was the latest model, upgraded at great cost after the previous one got destroyed while measuring the Minotaur King's strength reader. While Mason was in despair. Chairman Park, did I do well, meow? I completely smashed it, meow. Theo, hanging onto Sejun's knee with a proud expression, boasted about his achievement. Praise me quickly, meow. Our vice chairman Theo did well. Pew Hugh Hut, I know, meow, I did well, meow. Theo grew even more arrogant after receiving Sejun's praise. Pew Hugh Hut, Mason, bring on the next fourth stage test, meow. Yes, the fourth stage of the legendary merchant promotion test requires you to bring a total of 11 trillion tower coins, combining the 1 trillion promotion fee and 10 trillion in extra funds. The fourth stage test was a test of financial power, the most crucial condition for becoming a legendary merchant. Pew Hugh Hut, got it, meow. Chairman Park, lend me money, meow. Sure, here. Sejun took out 11 trillion tower coins from the void storage and handed them to Theo. Mason, here it is. Theo Parknam, you have also passed the fourth stage of the legendary merchant promotion test. He easily passed the fourth stage test as well. Then let's start the final test for the promotion to legendary merchant. Mason took out 5 scrolls from his bosom and handed them to Theo. Each was numbered from 1 to 5. What's this, meow? Wait a moment. You have to open those in order. Forcing them open will disqualify you from the promotion to legendary merchant. Mason hurriedly stopped Theo from opening the scrolls as soon as he received them. Meow. At the mention of disqualification, Theo hurriedly put the scrolls down. That can't happen, meow. I'm going to become a legendary merchant and receive Chairman Park's congratulations, meow. Please listen to my explanation first. Got it, meow. When you open those scrolls, a list of items registered with the Wandering Merchant Association will appear randomly. Mason continued his explanation. The final test is to bring the items listed in the 5 scrolls within 3 months. You can either find them yourself or buy them with money. The final test was to see if the candidate had the ability to procure necessary items as a legendary merchant. However, this test unofficially tested one more thing. It was luck. If you were lucky, easy items would appear, making it easy to become a legendary merchant. But if you were unlucky, it could list nearly impossible items to obtain. By the way, the items you obtain will disappear, but if you don't pass the test, the items will be returned as they are. But if you pass, you will be rewarded with items worth the total value of the obtained items. Then open the first scroll. The test will begin as soon as you open the first scroll. Got it, meow. SSSG. As Theo opened the first scroll without hesitation, a list of items began spinning rapidly inside the scroll like a roulette. The quickly spinning colorful letters indicated the difficulty of obtaining the items in 5 colors. Starting from the least difficult yellow, followed by green, blue, red, and the nearly impossible to obtain black. Let's see how good Theo Park's luck is. Mason watched Theo scroll with great interest. However, it's a dud. Mason looked at the red letters on the scroll with a disappointed expression. 1 phoenix tail feather. Of all things, the first item was the difficult-to-obtain phoenix tail feather. It could take all 3 months just to find this one. Some merchants are like this. They have good luck usually, but in critical moments they are unlucky. As Mason anticipated Theo's failure in the legendary merchant promotion test like that. Vice Chairman Theo here. Sejun handed a red feather to Theo. Pew Hugh Hut, thanks Chairman Park, meow. When Theo placed the feather from Sejun onto the scroll. SSHH. The feather disappeared and the writing on the scroll vanished, showing the word passed. Hut, that was too easy, meow. SSSG. When the excited Theo opened the second scroll, Mason was so shocked that he couldn't close his mouth. How did he prepare the phoenix's tail, feather in advance, as if he had seen the future? He really seemed to have good luck. As Mason acknowledged Theo as a lucky, the letters stopped. Black, the color indicating the impossible difficulty of obtaining an item. Did he use up all his luck at the beginning? This will be tough. This time, Mason was 100% sure Theo would fail. One branch of the world tree. Because, as far as he knew, there was no world tree in the Black Tower. It was an item that couldn't be obtained no matter the effort. However, Vice Chairman Theo here. Sejun took out a branch of pottery that he had stored in the void storage and handed it to Theo. Hut, thank you, Chairman Park, meow. When Theo placed the branch on the second scroll, the word passed appeared. The third scroll showed red letters. But one staff of calamity. Iona, give me the staff, meow. I'll get you a better one later, meow. Kaiwat, yes. He passed without any tension at all. The fourth scroll was black again. One red bone club. The red bone club didn't mean just any red-colored bone. It meant the favorite weapon of the Minotaur King. It was impossible to take the favorite weapon from the strongest being in the Black Tower. However, Kyungi has a red bone club. Kyungi took out a red stick from his snack pouch. The Minotaur King had thrown it away, saying he didn't need it, and Kyungi had kept it in his snack pouch to use as a toy. Clearly, the world was desperately trying to prevent Theo from becoming a legendary merchant, but Hut, it's too easy, meow. Theo lightly dismissed the world's resistance. Am I dreaming right now? Mason couldn't grasp what was happening before his eyes. What was even more astonishing was that Theo hadn't even gone out once to gather the items, and it hadn't even been an hour since the legendary merchant promotion test started. It was truly unbelievable. Hut, now it's the last one, meow. In the meantime, Theo opened the fifth scroll. At that moment, flash, a dazzling light burst from the scroll. Golden color. Was there such a color? Mason was astonished. Even though he had overseen multiple legendary merchant promotion tests, it was the first time he saw this color. It was certain the world did not want Theo to become a legendary merchant. Otherwise, 10,000 scales of the Great Black Dragon. It wouldn't ask for such an impossible item. Even though Theo was a subordinate of the Great Dragon, no dragon would give away 10,000 of their scales. What? Vice Chairman Theo here. Hut, thank you, Chairman Park, meow. Sejun took out 10,000 scales of the Great Black Dragon from the void storage and handed them to Theo, and the word passed appeared on the fifth scroll as well. As he finished obtaining all the items like that, Wung, the scrolls numbered 1 to 5 floated into the air and began to merge into one. Oh my God! Mason watched in a daze as the extremely difficult items combined. He couldn't imagine what kind of item would come out. While Mason was watching the items combine, Mason, am I a legendary merchant now, meow? Theo asked Mason. Ah yes, now Theonim is the 4th legendary merchant of the Black Tower. Hut, got it, meow. Chairman Park, I'm a legendary merchant now, meow. Theo, who received Mason's acknowledgement, quickly ran to Sejun. I'll receive congratulations from Chairman Park first, meow. Vice Chairman Theo, congrats on becoming a legendary merchant. Hut, I'm so happy, meow. Passing the legendary merchant promotion test with Sejun and receiving congratulations made Theo extremely happy. Kyung, big brother, congrats on becoming a legendary merchant. Kaiwat. Theonim, congratulations on becoming a legendary merchant. Kyungi and Iona also congratulated Theo. Hut, thank you, meow. From now on, call me legendary Merchant Theo Park, meow. The atmosphere was incredibly cheerful. At that moment, thud, a black bag fell from where the 5 scrolls had merged.